Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome to the Out of Order Show. My name, as always, is Michael, aka the local boy, aka fucking whooping cough. So yeah, how's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. I, on the other hand, am just dealing with some medical issues. I finally have a thing to go with what has been afflicting me, and it's actually pretty embarrassing. I don't know how. I feel like the last couple days or weeks have been so tough because I haven't been able to broadcast as consistently as I want to. I haven't been able to go to the gym because of this cough. Everything has been basically put on hold because I just didn't know what the hell was wrong with me. And there were some scary moments where they were talking about two of the biggest air afflictions that occur here in where I live at. One being valley fever, and two being two being the whatchamacallit, tuberculosis. That was kind of crazy to think that tuberculosis of all things could that could happen to me. I was like, really? TB? Are you for real? That is something that I could in the year our Lord 2025, right? I can't believe that I could be afflicted by something as not silly, but something as weird as tuberculosis. And so essentially what I did was I just was there's got to be somebody's got to figure out what's wrong with me. And so I felt today's particularly bad. Last couple of days I haven't been coughing as much, but maybe just the overall what I've been afflicted with is finally so. Either way, hi, by the way, hello everybody. So I finally figured out, or they finally figured out what was wrong with me, and I tested positive for whooping cough. And once again, I feel like this is a weird ass isn't this an affliction that's from the Wild West era, TB, tuberculosis? Arthur Morgan died of TB. And the fact that I have whooping cough, or the 100-day cough, which, God, I feel like I'm at 50 days of it right now. So, yeah, I'm just I need to figure out what my next plan of action is. I'm taking all sorts of medications right now. And what the fuck? What is the terms and conditions? What is this? Do I have to agree? Okay, I guess. I agree and continue. HIPAA. What the hell? I'll close that. I don't any. Wait. Well, let me in my own app. Let's see. Okay. Prescription available. Oh my God. This app needs to be fixed. So this is Omer. It's 500 milligrams. What is this? $10. What is this? What is this? I don't know what this. What is this treat? Usage. Drug encyclopedia. Okay. Uses. Bacterial infections. It is a monocardite type of antibiotic. Works to stop growth of bacteria. This medication will not work for viral infection. Unnecessary use of uses. I don't know how to use it. Okay, so I guess I gotta pick that up tomorrow morning. Maybe you should probably order. Yeah, add to order. Check out. Pick up. Choose a different pharmacy. Yes. Select. Okay, so I get the standard pickup. Yes, man. Cool. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's my medication for the bacterial infection that is whooping cough in my lungs. So there we go. I'm hoping within the next few days that modern medicine helps me and I'm able to beat this. So I can go back to the gym. I can go back to streaming more consistently. But I can't miss this stuff. This is my jam right now. The Final Fantasy. I am so hyped right now for it that I don't even want to speak anymore. I just want to go straight to. I want to go straight to the what they're talking about. So let's do that. Let's just go straight to reactions. Okay. All right. We are here. We are here. Well,
I'm back. We can't be Gavin all the time, but we're going to be Gavin for another week here. So
there's some bad audio distortion. Hold on. I want to see if the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/magic, to see. Oh my. Oh my god. Let's see if there's audio distortion in this.
Week of Final Fantasy previews.
Okay. So it's their production.
For our final week of Final Fantasy previews.
Oh, this is the final week?
Of course, Gavin.
No, I thought it was 4 weeks.
Dylan, fresh off the plane from Japan. So we are going to be talking about a lot of cards today. So it's going to be a lot of commons and uncommons. We're filling in a lot of the gaps of stuff we haven't seen to give texture to the limited format. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the different limited archetypes and what you should expect when you sit down to play in a pre-release or a draft, which is coming so soon. We are almost there. And so we're going to spend the entire time talking about that. We have, I don't know, 24 preview cards today.
A lot of preview cards. So many preview cards. When I saw them, I'm like, is this right? Is this the number of preview cards we have? There's so many preview cards.
They are commons and uncommons. Just set expectations. But they're still cool. They're still awesome.
And one rare.
And one rare, yeah. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that. But before we do that, two things. One, I want these two gentlemen to introduce yourselves and the work you did on the set, even though if you've been tuning in, you know Gavin. Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. I'm Gavin Verhey, principal game designer on Magic the Gathering and the lead game designer for Magic the Gathering and Final Fantasy. And then, of course, when I was working on the set and trying to figure out all the cool creative concepts to put in, the man who was really the key to the operation right here.
He's so nice. Gavin's so nice. Hey everyone, I'm Dylan Devaney. I'm the principal narrative game designer for the Universes Beyond creative team, and I had the great fortune and honor to be the narrative lead for the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy set.
And super long-time Final Fantasy fan, right?
Absolutely, literally lifelong. Some of my earliest memories go back to my old NES and my cracked SNES that I got at the flea market that came with every early copy of Final Fantasy at the time.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right, and then the second item is we didn't do this last week, but it's time to talk about the ambassadors in the Magic community, creating all the cool content for you to enjoy for Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy. So these are
I wanted to be part of
ambassadors
this,
for Final Fantasy.
but
You
wasn't
can search
cool.
for their content.
Wasn't
looking
cool
for
enough.
hashtag MTG Ambassador or hashtag MTG Partner on your favorite social media platform. And many of them have already started creating some pretty cool stuff. So keep an eye out for these amazing creators.
Thanks, everybody.
So many awesome people on this.
Jesse Cox.
Wow,
That's the only name I
recognize.
recognize. Oh, and Commander at
And a
Home,
ton of Final
and
Fantasy
Niles,
fans
Jonah
in there as
Rivers,
well. So,
Amazonian, I recognize.
So now let's talk to the Final Fantasy fans who have
else?
tuned in and the Magic fans who've tuned in.
I know
the
Cali
show
MTG.
to learn all about these preview cards. So we're going to start out. We're going
Yes.
to go color by color.
Yes.
Through a
Yes.
bunch of new cards, and then we're going to move into talking about the
Indeed.
limited archetype. So, as we always do, let's start
Ah.
with white.
One of my favorite words on a card in
Aerith
the set,
Rescue
just stuck basically
Mission.
the whole way through
Oh,
design.
wow.
Take 59 flights of stairs, right? You've got to love the flavor word.
Really?
Take 59 flights of stairs. Dylan, tell us about this story moment in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, so in 7, there's a part where Aerith has been removed from your party. The Shinra Corporation wants to take her for their own gains to find the Promised Land. And you have the option when you infiltrate the Shinra Electric Company to either take the elevator or go up 59 flights of
elevator.
stairs. Now, in-game, either of them have different game scenarios. I always choose the staircase portion. It is a hilarious, very long, real time. You have to move your character up 59 flights of stairs. And it was a really fun way to try to figure out how we were going to present making climbing stairs exciting on Magic Art. But like
Exciting.
finding the three kind of like emoticons of, Tifa just blowing everyone away, Cloud midway, Barrett complaining the whole time. It was such a joy to bring to life.
Okay.
And chat's going a little nuts over Gale Cat, actually.
Yeah, it was so cute. Look at
Gale
this little guy. You got
Cat.
a few things going on here, of course. You got a cute cat with wings. So
Yep.
you got to love that. You've got some call-outs for artifacts, which is going to be really relevant for the artifact archetype for limited, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Yep.
And we've got, of course, Final Fantasy V and Gale and flavor text.
we got Gale
Wow.
up there. He had a lot of different quotes he wanted to use and a lot of just like nice RPG
As long as you
moments.
get 2 more
I've been
artifacts,
trying to
creatures
find
plus 2.
figure out the flavor text for this card. There's just like a lot of moments where you go to a new area, he tells you about it, you fight the monsters in the area, and this is just a very charming, like very tropey RPG moment. And this art is just adorable. I love this guy.
Right, and the Gale cat in Final Fantasy V, are those wings or are those mechanical?
Yeah, so the cats, they wear these little like wing suits.
right.
They kind of fly around on them, which is a very charming detail. Also plays into the fact that they care about artifacts in some capacity.
All right.
All
Chat
right.
has set us up nicely for this transition because someone noted the set seems to be lacking non-creature spells. So let's go to blue.
Non-creature spells.
Take a look at some, at least 2 non-creature spells, including that rare that you were mentioning, Gavin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is Memories Returning. So Final Fantasy VIII, I'm a Final Fantasy VIII fan who played through the game multiple times when I was a
Boo.
kid. And one thing I wanted to really
Oh,
capture
Rook
is
Turret.
this moment of kind of going back in the childhood orphanage and the literal flashback on it. I've talked about this a few times now, but having these flashbacks in the game have flashback is a really neat little way to make that word
Wow.
actually relevant. So we put that on this card. And then what it is it's one of my favorite kinds of cards, which I don't get to do very often, but I try and sneak one in every set if I can, which are these kind of mini game cards. So it's sort of like a fact or fiction riff where you flip over 5 cards, you get one of them, your opponent takes one of them away, you get one of them, your opponent takes one of them away, and then you get the last one. So you're going up 3 cards every time, and you get the first, third, and 5th best card of your top 5 cards. A really fun little mini game, and you got that late game flashback cost too.
Yeah, just like Gavin was mentioning, like incorporating flashbacks on flashback was really fun. But especially for Final Fantasy VIII, it was really important to talk about
Because of the
memories
time paradox,
and
yeah.
the full story of all of the characters that go through this idea of losing their memories. Why is it they forgot these memories? And the meta narrative around them. 8 gave us a chance to do a lot of those more abstract, fantastical ideas. So even on a concept that is like easy to understand, as like playing a mini game, trying to remember
You
what's there,
discard
it's
a
just
card.
it's a
Okay.
nice creative through line that I was very happy to see in the file.
Yeah, and then you talking about limited. You
Rook
want a
Turret.
nice, solid removal spell. Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum is one of the best rate claustrophobia effects we've ever given you. 3 mana, flash, taps and freezes something, and its abilities can't be used, so that will really keep their stuff locked down.
Yep, and it's worth noting it's artifact or creature.
Yep.
A lot of these end up being just creature, but this hits both.
One thing that we noticed in the set is
Okay.
there's a number of really strong artifacts, right? There's the 5 crystals, for example, that you've already seen. So just having some commons to help shut down some of the strongest rares in limited
Yep.
helps make sure there are counterbalances to the bomb rares if your opponent opens against them.
Also, whenever we
Okay.
show a 10 card, we have to showcase the wide range of casting characters that are in 10. So for those of you 10 fans, you will recognize a lot of the characters, the various
Yeah.
other summoners that are
The other
along the journey
summoners.
that Yuna is trying to make on her pilgrimage, and we had to make sure we found a spot for them.
All right, and then Rook
Good.
Turret. Just keep that one again in the back of your
Super
mind
good.
for the artifact.
We saw a
archetype.
white artifact card and a blue artifact card. Interesting,
Very
interesting.
interesting.
Really, it's going to be
All right,
kind of
let's
hard to
move
be
on
excited
to
about
black.
common and
So we've got
uncommons.
a number of black cards. We got a few slides
Oh,
for
okay,
black
I
here.
horror.
What
Wow,
stands out
Stuff
to you
Touch.
on this one besides?
What?
Corner
Okay,
by
it's
Black
uncommon.
Mages,
Okay,
which is my
Dark
favorite
Knight
card, so-
Greatsword,
Core
uncommon.
Black Mages is awesome, right? I mean, this is sort of like a. I mean, it's not Ravenous Chupacabra because that would be ridiculous at common, obviously. But 3 mana, they sack something, and you get the 0/1 that pays them. A cornerstone of the Black Mage deck, and it's a really strong card in its own right here.
And it's just like that cutscene.
Oh,
If I
okay.
close my eyes and I think about 9 cutscenes, I will always come back to like you turn around during the invasion. It's like you're in the wrong neighborhood. It was a bad day to go out to the market because the black mages are here.
And then when it comes to the Ahriman, we'll come back to this a
Ahriman.
little bit, so keep this archetype in your mind. But there is a sacrifice archetype in the set. And this is kind of a cornerstone of that. Lets you turn all your extra stuff floating around into cards. One thing I want to call out that is actually perfectly paired up on this slide is Job Select gives you both an equipment and a creature, right? It's 2
Yeah.
pieces of material for 1 card. So the sack outlets in this set often let you sack creatures or artifacts so that your job select
Knight?
can do double
A
duty.
dark-
You can
no, I
both
guess
eat
it's
the
a
token
Dark
and then
Knight.
eat the artifact later if you want to.
Pay
so
3
Ahriman lets you
life.
pick up a lot of cards.
Oh, you have
as
to
the game
pay
goes
3
on
life
that
to
way.
equip
Yeah,
it.
I'm interested. Dark Knight's
Activate only
Greatsword
one.
has, a unique equip cost. It's not something we see very often, if really ever. It's just paying life. You can only activate it once each turn. Gavin, talk a little bit about the idea behind that.
Yeah, exactly. So we were trying to figure out some stuff to do for the Dark Knight's Greatsword, and paying life seemed to make a lot of sense creatively for this. It was like, oh, that's a cool thing to move on, and it's awesome that you can like play it and immediately snap it onto your flyer, which is quite. You play your turn 2 flyer, turn 3 snap this on, and it's really strong. If you're wondering why you can only activate it each turn, like why do I want to pay a bunch of life? Well, it turns out that letting you pay unbounded amounts of life can create all kinds of challenges, especially when you look back at Eternal format sometimes, or even in this set there's like Cecil or what have you,
Yeah.
which is you just want to slow that down a little bit here. So we put that on there. That was an ask from Play Design after we tried it out the other way. Do you want to talk
Okay.
about the creative of this card?
Yeah,
a bit,
so
Dylan?
that's what I was going to bring up. One of the things about being a Dark Knight in multiple Final Fantasy games is the fact that like life as a resource or the risk versus reward for greater, darker power. This card very specifically also does play well with Cecil, the fact that you can make your life go down and embrace that inner darkness early on. We just have this wicked awesome moment of just seeing a Dark Knight in
Wicked
action.
awesome.
I always come back to this piece, just seeing like the Chaos Bringer glowing with darkness. And it's like that idea of darkness is very prevalent in Final Fantasy, generally the light versus the darkness in many titles. You can also see that in Ahriman in the world of darkness in Final Fantasy III and how it's presented. There's like this very strange, very eldritch beauty to the darkness of Final Fantasy, and it was a delight to try and capture that
darkness.
in the various games that we had to find that lens through.
Like the Ahriman art is just gorgeous with the stars kind of
It's
in the
so
background.
cool, yeah.
there.
It's
like,
right before you actually fight him too. So it's the moment where he jumps at you, he has this really cool line, and then you go into the boss fight.
Very cool. All right, let's put up some more black cards. We've got Demon Wall, Heck
Demon
Eyes,
Wall.
one of the greatest names in the set. And then
Freaking
a couple other
Demon
strong black
Wall.
cards. What stands out to you here, Gavin?
Well, I want to call it one thing particular that's kind of unique. Demon Wall is a 2-mana demon. You don't get a lot of those in Magic. There aren't a lot of 2-mana
Yep.
demons just running around all over the place. So
Because it's a wall.
This actually has some, if you're a demon fan building a demon deck, somebody got to fill out your curve a little bit, or you've got Unholy Annex rolling around. Maybe you're drawing.
Plus,
cards,
I
you
take
don't wanna
over
take
your
big damage.
turn, I
The
kill
Demon Wall
you-
is a
kill
nice one
you
to have
by
out.
your equipment
The other thing
over and
for Liberty
over
to keep
again.
in mind is
True.
it doesn't have to have it's not like Monstrous. It doesn't have to have the last ability activated to be able to attack. It just needs a counter.
Yeah.
So if you play Demon Wall on turn 2 and then we showed off Combat Tutorial a few days ago online, which draws you 2 cards, puts a counter on something. Well, your Demon Wall is ready to attack for 4 right away. So this card can actually do some pretty cool synergistic stuff. We're of course seeing some nods to a bunch of games here. Right? We've got a card for Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 11. You want to talk about the Coot Rub here for a second?
Yeah,
The
so we've
Koopa.
got a variety of monsters across a variety of different games.
Resentful
11
Revelation.
has the unique perspective of having multiple expansions that go into different flavors and different stories. So it was really fun to kind of dive deep and find monsters that headlined expansions Specifically, if you were an 11 fan, every time a new expansion would come up, there would be a website to show you like new screenshots and new art. And
Yeah.
this is a monster that many of us around the office kind of remembered when they were teasing out our latest expansions of seeing like, whoa, we just kind of, he's cool, he's interesting, but he kind of
Cool and
slots into Magic. Like it just feels like a Magic monster. And so we
Magic.
wanted to find a spot for more 11 creatures to kind of flesh out the world, to parallel some of the more well-known creatures like the Hektais, like the Demon Wall. And also, I just want to say, I am a huge fan of names and creature lines that are just Demon Wall, Demon Wall. It is what it is, and it was really fun to just like, yep, we're done, we did it.
We
Thank
did
you
it.
very much.
Exactly.
And then, of course, we talked a bit earlier about flashbacks as flashbacks. One of the most iconic there is.
Yeah, so Resentful Revelation was something that I think has been in the file forever. Like I think Yanni put it in, which was like, yeah, we're just not touching it. It has to be there. It's a moment of all moments when we talk about characters and their origins and villains in their origins and where they kind of start to like follow that thread. You know, some characters are they're evil for the sake of being evil, and then they have a greater agenda. Right, Sephiroth is the story of a fallen hero, and this is the moment where we
Well,
we
he was
witness
never
him
really a
fall.
hero,
This
per
moment is kind of
se.
inspired by events that in the original game, events in the kind of the remakes of just that moment where you see someone and you can hear almost like the glass
Look at the top three
crack
cards of your library,
right
put
behind
them
And
in
the
your
flavor
hand, the
text
rest in the
tells
graveyard, and you can
all if
flashback
you're
it.
familiar with the story.
All right, let's move on to some red cards. We have quite a few red cards to show off, including Choco Comet, which
Blazing
may
Bomb.
be my favorite uncommon. But what else stands out to you here, Gavin?
Well, I want to call out a
Birds.
red uncommon that I really love.
Oh my
It's a very
God, Choco
unique,
Comet?
card for red
Fuck
effect,
that
which is
ability.
called the Mountain Chocobo. This
Fuck
is really
that
a
ability
backbone
in
card
Final
limited.
Fantasy
You'll see this
16.
card, I think, quite a bit. So it makes a 2/2 bird and gets you a mountain out of your deck. Red does not do a lot of going to search for mountains, and
That's
then
pretty
flashbacks
cool.
again. Now, this is important because you'll see on the left here, there's this Blazing Bomb. Blazing Bomb makes a +1/+1 counter whenever you cast a non-creature spell and spend at least 4 or more mana. We'll talk about that later, but one of the archetypes is spending 4 or more mana for your non-creature spells, and so Call the Mountain Chocobo is a creature that is a non-creature spell and has flashback. So really strong here, really strong in the landfall deck as well, and it's a really nice glue card.
Especially-
Turns out it's very
hey,
easy to get
especially
6 mana to
landfall.
flash it back when it finds you 1 mountain to start
He'll
off with,
gig it.
right? So
Gig
this is a
us.
really nice 4-drop and kind of a unique space for red. We haven't done a lot like this, especially at common.
I want to talk about Choco Comment because I agree. I love this card. I've also lost against
target.
this card a lot. Just like I lost against the level 99 red Chocobo in 12 a lot. Flavorfully and mechanically, it kind of recreates the experience of not being ready for that fight. And anytime I see it comes out, I'm like, I should have seen this coming. You know, I absolutely get destroyed. Then there's Chocobos on the battlefield, and there's a lot to be said about the creative and mechanical through line and resonance of experiencing the same level of loss in a game of Magic the Gathering as you do in Final Fantasy. You know, you're always triumphant, and eventually you grind enough or you come up with a strategy that gets you through. But there is that moment, like I know me and many other 12 fans remember going up against the Chocobo, getting hit by Choco Comet, like, oh, okay, well that's the fight. That's it.
Yeah, that's
and
the
being able
fight.
to kind of recreate that feeling.
the fact that they
recreate
do
that
it again
gameplay
in 16
experience has
is
been
kind of
a
nuts.
delight that we've been able to do multiple times throughout the set.
And I think the Choco Comet literally never changed. Like the set was handed off to me many years ago by Yanni. Shout out to Yanni. And I think this card has literally never
Yanni.
changed at all. It was just perfect for what it was trying to do.
Yep.
I'll also just call out really fast. One thing we tried to do, especially at Common, was put in things that appeared in multiple games. So it's like, oh, it's really iconic. If you open a booster pack, there's a good chance you'll find something that you know. And the Hilgigas and the Blazing Bomb are cards that it's like, yep, you've seen a bomb in a number of Final Fantasy games. You've seen this, this 5/4 trampling haste in a number of games, and so you can it makes sense for them to be right here. The other thing I'll call
Right
out about
here.
a bomb is yes, you can make all the jokes about opening a bomb common in your in your
A
limited
bomb
pools,
common.
because,
Ha,
it is in
ha,
fact
ha.
a bomb.
Ha,
Not a bomb.
ha, 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 ha,
All right,
ha,
let's take a look at some more red cards.
more red.
So many red cards.
So many red. This isn't even our last red slide. All right.
Really?
I kind of want to
Red
start
Mage
again here with
Rapier,
Random
okay.
Encounter. That one's got a pretty
Oh,
iconic
but it doesn't have a
name.
type.
Tell us about Random Encounter.
When you think Final Fantasy,
Opera
when you think
love
RPGs,
song.
You
Wow.
think random encounter, right? Just you're walking on the overworld, you hear the sound, the screen fades out, you're fighting against some enemies, and that's what's going to happen here. You mill 4 cards, and you get all the creatures into play for the turn. They attack your opponent, and then it can flash back later on down the road. So just truly, like,
Wow,
this is a
Random
card, you
Encounter is
cast it,
pretty
sometimes
busted.
It might do nothing. And sometimes you might cheat some huge stuff onto the battlefield. You never really know what happens when the random encounter comes to play.
Makes you a
In
wizard.
particular, when we were trying to figure out what to put on the art for random encounter because
Yeah.
it literally could be anything from
Yeah, but
in-game.
usually
We
all the
wanted that kind of like classic era, that pixel era
job
vibe,
select weapons
but also we wanted
have
to,
like
you
a
know, it's
name.
6 mana. It's gonna do something splashy. It's
So I
gonna do
guess
something
they're just
fun.
doing
so
a
we wanted to do
generic
kind of like the end game
mimic a
random
wizard
encounters
class,
where
but they don't give a
giving
name
you
to
the
the
stronger
weapon.
version of monsters, or they have higher health or higher health pools, and it still kind of put some iconic creature designs in there. And I'm very happy with where we ended up to be. If you do a
How's it going,
playthrough
Delta?
of Final Fantasy II, you're likely to
How's it
encounter
going?
something like this towards the end of the game.
Why don't I have
Chad is
time-
also
is there
moderately
no
excited about
time-
Opera Love Song.
timestamp?
Yeah, this is a card that I'm so happy about. First of all, you just don't see enough love in Magic, right? It's like a nice moment from the opera scene in Final Fantasy VI.
my
Of course, the opera scene is
hero,
a
my
very iconic part of that game. And one of the things I really love, one of the really nice nods that I was personally was very charmed with myself when I put it on the card, is in the scene in the Opera Love Song part of the game.
I love
you have
that
to
song.
correctly choose from like a bulleted list which answer to give. And I was
One
like, oh, well,
or
a
two
card with
target
a
creatures
modal
gets
choice is actually
+2.
perfect for this flavor and for this scene.
Exile
yes, you can
all
either
the
pump
top
up
2
some
cards in your
creatures, two
library.
different
You may
creatures,
play those cards
or
your
exile your
next
top 2 cards. Of course,
next
2 because of the romance.
until
but
your
the
next
fact that it is a
instant.
bolted list.
That's actually pretty
I thought
dope.
it was just a really nice touch for this card.
It was also fun to figure out what line we're supposed to put. I remember I was kind of at one point begging you. I was like, "Can I have more space on here? I want to put the whole opera on here. Could we do, like maybe it's this one, maybe it's this one, maybe it's this one?" And then we were kind of replaying it in the office, like we had our switches up and we're kind of going through, and we had a list of lines.
Playing on
and I think
Switch.
just like, even if you aren't familiar with this scene, looking at it, you just kind of get it. And it's
I
this
mean, I
beautiful
get it.
moment, and the name
It's a
tells you it
Nintendo
all.
game. It was on
So I was
Nintendo.
very happy. If I only got one line, I was very happy we got this one.
And yes, keep those Red Mage's Rapier and the Obsidian Elder in your head, because this will be quite relevant when we get to one of the archetypes later on. Kind of a unique thing for this color combination to do. Red does a little more.
Whenever
than the
you
other half
cast
of
a
it,
non-creature
but,
spell,
yeah,
this
Red
creature
Black is
gets
all about these
+2,
non-creature spells,
and
so
a
keep
turn,
that in
and
mind.
there
I was
was
going to say those two look like they're
doing.
doing several different things in the set, making tokens and keying off spells. So we will come back to that.
All
right. More red cards.
Woo! Red card!
Red card.
I wanna talk
Thunder
about the
magic.
Sandworm,
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
something unique we do. Blowing up a land, okay, they get a land back. But the thing that is not immediately obvious on this card is, yes, you can hit their lands. For example, if you're fighting against a greedy town deck, maybe you
Sandworm.
hit their key town and keep them off of it. But I actually target my own land with this a decent amount of the time to trigger my landfall abilities twice. So say you have the Sabatender in play, which is a pretty innocuous little landfall trigger, but you hit your own land, boop, they take an extra point of damage. And as you've seen, there are much gnarlier landfall effects in the set. than just that.
Saboteur.
I want to jump to Unexpected Request because I love this scene. I think it's one of the most character-defining moments. It's early on in Final Fantasy IX where you're trying to get used to and learn these new characters like Garnet and Zidane. And this was such a nice flip of the
Zidane.
script back in the day of how to tell story in games. That flavor text, by the way, I shall hereby do my best to kidnap you. Right, Zidane comes and he's here to kidnap Garnet to get ransom for her, but she actually, before he even gets a chance to do that, asks Zidane to kidnap her to get her out of the kingdom. What a great play on the trope. But that flavor text has been in the file when this card concept landed there, because we're doing this, and we never lock in flavor text. We have a process for it, but it was like, this is not changing. It gets to stay here. This is the scene. I can envision it, and so this
cool.
card came out very perfect. Same thing with the conversation
The
with Thunder
Naga
Magic. It was like,
deals
well,
8 damage to
we're going to
target
draw
creature.
lightning,
Sticks for
like lightning
8.
magic on the art. Like, what character should we be drawing using Thunder Magic? And I remember a couple people asked me that. I was like, well, we're going to draw lightning using lightning, right? Like, we kind of have to do that. And so
You
this
didn't have
was
to. You could-
another
well,
fun
Judgment
moment
Bolt,
of, like,
I guess,
deciding
was,
what classic characters
Sid.
or what classic mages or what
'Cause he
classic
is
roles that we want to showcase on these kind of tiered
Ramuh.
cards. And for me, it just made sense that if you told your friend, oh, who's this character? Oh, her name's Lightning. Oh, she casts lightning? I understand.
But
I
it's
believe
thunder,
the
not
playtest name for
lightning.
Unexpected Request was Zidane kidnaps in quotation
quotes,
marks.
yeah.
But that was that way for a very, very, very long time, which I thought was great. I want to call out on the Thunder Magic as well. We saw the Blazing Bomb a moment ago that wants you to cast spells with mana value 4 or greater. These tiered spells are a great way to do that, because the key is it's actually not caring about the mana value of the card. It cares about how much mana you spent to cast it. So if you play Thunder Magic with the Thundara mode, you're good. And one of the tricks is, well, how many mana value 4 or greater spells can you put in your deck? There's a lot of ways to cheat it here, right? You've got these tiered spells, you have job select equipment, even flashback costs that are high, for example, will trigger those cards. So I know it sounds tricky to cast a bunch of high mana value spells. It is actually a lot easier in this set than it sounds like.
Cool. All right. that is it for red cards. Let's move on
Red
to
cards.
some green cards.
Chocobo
We
kick,
got some
Bard's
Chocobo
bow,
here, of course, here.
Airship
including
crash.
their very own racetrack and a kick.
Chocobo racetrack,
Gavin, what stands
wow.
out to you here?
Yeah, well, the racetrack, of course, iconic in Final Fantasy VII. Gotta have it, right? If you've ever played with Zendikar's Royal, I believe is the name of the card. This is like that, but an artifact, and the birds gets a +1/+0 when you play lands. So really nice if you're drafting landfall deck. This is kind of you play this, and it's just an endless swarm of chocobos your opponent has to deal with. But even if you're not,
Endless
it's just a
swarm.
great five mana common. One thing we like to do with our landfall decks as well is make sure that you can reset your lands to kind of pick them back up and play them again. It's a great way to keep your land drops, keep making land drops in the late game, even if you don't want to be drawing lands. And so the Chocobo Kick lets you do that by letting you pick up a land to double the amount of damage. Sometimes you'll pick up the land even if you don't need to do the damage, just so you can replay a land later on down the road. And of course, a kicker card with kick in the name. Is
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it really
Gotta
comes
Turn
together.
land you control to its owner hand.
Yeah, and
wow.
this is specifically in Final Fantasy IV. If you're wondering why a Chocobo is in the midst of combat, Chocobo is a summon in Final Fantasy IV.
Oh,
that
Dan,
Rydia
you
can
want
summon
the
onto the
bolt, the
battlefield. This is
bird,
a
well,
boss
the
fight that you
bird
can get
botted
involved
army,
into.
exactly.
And so when we were trying to figure out
That's gonna be
how
so
to
funny. It's
incorporate
like,
more Chocobos into
bird
the set,
dick,
certain
you
games
wanna
allow
bolt
them to
this
be more than
bird,
a mount
bitch?
or more than a party member, and this is a really kind of fun way to show it off. And then also just kind of going over to like Airship Crash, we actually had a really long conversation about which airship to show crash. Because if you have
there's a
an airship,
lot of
it will
airships that
crash.
crash, yeah.
Great story. It's super dramatic. It could have been a lot of moments. But when we were kind of discussing
They
like,
chose
it's going to be
9.
in green, I think we both kind of went to 9 and kind of like being in the forest, seeing that kind of cutscene, seeing the future ship kind of in that smoke and kind of Zidane walking around surveying it. It just kind of felt right. But we had plenty of concepts. Plenty of concepts for Airship Crash.
It is such an iconic airship. Crash,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Well, I do think that's a
I
really
think 6
good
is better,
example
but,
of kind of the love and
it's-
care that goes into this set. Because I mean, this
It's
is
just
this
like
is a
dun,
common.
dun, dun,
It
dun,
is
dun,
a
dun,
card that
dun,
we've seen
dun,
versions
dun,
of in
dun,
most
dun, dun,
Magic
dun.
sets mechanically.
Although I think maybe
But
4s
you
might
all
be a
spent
little bit
time
more
deciding
iconic,
which
right?
air crash this is and talking about that. And so I think that's a really good example.
It's those
Yeah,
sort
load
of
of
conversations.
I don't care.
Yeah, and you say it's so great.
I don't
like,
care.
It's a comedy.
9
It's
is
like,
for
yeah, it
weirdos
is,
and 8
everyone's
never
gonna see this
happened.
a million times.
Get
It's
'em
gonna be
out.
in your sideboard. You're gonna use
Get
them
'em
all.
out.
And so those moments
Get 'em out.
sometimes almost matter
Who
the
cares?
most. Of like we have
Get 'em
such a
out.
bevy of options. What's the moment? What's the scene?
9
what's
is
the
for
spread that we're
weirdos,
gonna
8
get
never
across all
happened.
of our comments to make
Get
sure
'em
that
out.
texture feels correct. It feels like Final Fantasy.
Give me
And at
more
Common
6.
especially, I mean,
Give me
it's a
more
great link to the kind of
10.
design thing,
Give me
where if you
more
know the moment and
16.
you know the story
Give
beat
me
that's
more
hitting, you're like, wow, I
14.
get this. It hits
Give
for
me
me.
more.
If you haven't played
15
9,
is
you read
definitely
Airship Crash,
underrated.
including an artifact, enchantment, or flyer, and you're like, yeah, that makes
I
sense.
have not
understand
seen.
what's going on here.
I've only seen
One
a
thing I wanna touch
handful
on,
of
Dylan,
15
you want to
cards.
talk about the Bard's bow a bit, because a Bard giving reach, if you don't know Final Fantasy 14,
Right.
you're like, what is going on with this reaching Bard?
These
Yeah,
weirdos.
so in Final Fantasy
upping
14,
their
one of the
nines.
jobs that you can get, you
They're-
can start as
they're-
an archer in that
they're-
game,
you
and then
could-
you become a bard.
That's the problem.
Bards in that game are very special.
Is that
They
they're
obviously have
Magic
musical
fans
abilities,
first
and
and
they
Final
have ballads
Fantasy
that they can
fans
use as one of
second.
their magical abilities.
And they
but they are
want
bow
the final.
users.
They
And
want
a
their
lot of
fucking
their,
fantasy.
abilities
They
and
want their
efforts
nerd
revolve around using
fantasies
bow
in my
and
Final
using arrows
Fantasy.
in that
And
capacity.
I'm like, get that
and so
shit
it
out.
was kind of like
I
a
want
flavor bend and flavor through line
spirituality. I want
of what we understand
politics. I
bard to
want
be as a word, and a
steampunk.
very
I want
specific context of it
cyberpunk.
being inside of Final Fantasy.
Get the
and then one step
fantasy
further,
outta
being
here.
a job or a
Get
class
Final
inside of Final
Fantasy-
Fantasy
get
14 very
fantasy out of
specifically.
Final
And so
Fantasy.
that's
That's
why
what
in
I
the art,
say.
we wanted to put you in like the Bard artifact gear.
But no,
so if you're a
these-
Bard player,
these
or if you have
fucking
bards in, like,
nerds-
your raid group, you would
These
recognize
nerds
that,
gotta be
and using one of the
upping
cool,
their
very
fucking
obviously, like,
fantasies,
kind of archery
which is
moves,
why they're so
that
fucking
the,
hopped up on
characters and
9.
role players will use
Because
very
9 is
often
like
in
a
the game.
return to the
right.
to the old
Let's
Final
see some
Fantasy.
more green cards.
Yeah, so here's just a nice cast of
Okay,
of
15,
things you might
a
have to battle against
Gigatoad.
at some point in Final Fantasy.
Oh,
I know a lot of
Goo
folks have asked, where
Gardner.
is the behemoth? Well, here it is. It is big. It is a great top end card. It has a Shades of Palaka worm. You know, it's 7 mana, 7/7. It comes down. It'll refund you a card or kill off their artifact or enchantment, which is just a nice little curve topper there.
And
As
just
long as
this
you control 7 or
range
more
of
lands, you get
monsters makes
+2/+2.
me personally very
Okay.
happy as a Final Fantasy fan. Seeing the very different games, various different interpretations of them, the interpretations of their personality,
The
where you
Google
fight them,
Gardner,
where the
it's
flavor
not even a
text comes
14
from.
representation,
And
it's
just
a
like,
11
come on, The Google
representation?
Gardner just makes me so happy. Like, he's just
It's making chat happy.
yeah, oh good. I'm
Fuck
glad. I'm
this
glad you're
game.
happy.
I look forward to people just like putting
Get 'em
just the
outta
patch
here.
where that is.
Get 'em outta
card
here.
you wanted to
This is
open,
yes,
you
I
know.
got it.
This is doing the pose.
12
Yeah,
and
it's
11.
I mean, these guys.
Get 'em
Goobers are
outta
like,
here.
They don't want to encounter one. They're kind of
Get
gnarly
'em outta
monsters,
here.
But This is nice. This is a gardener. He's
Yeah,
so
he's
nice.
just having a good time.
He's having a good old time.
Actually, I didn't
And,
classify
yeah,
what 11 and
the
12 are
the Seven
for.
More Lands thing as well.
So
like,
if
in
Final
the blue-green
Fantasy
deck, you will
never
go along,
happened.
red-green, you will go along. So
And-
this guy becoming a 6/6, the Gigantode, is no joke.
Get 11, 14.
Yep,
Fuck
and,
you.
Keep the card on the
14's
right
here to
and the
stay,
back to the right
baby.
For another
Yeah,
archetype as
the,
well.
the Ochi will get to in a little bit, so stay tuned.
All
If
right,
I
and
had
then
to-
one last group of green cards here, including side quest Raise a Chocobo.
We were
Oh my
at
God, they got
PAX,
the Lapret.
and a number of amazing people came
The
up to us, and
Lapret.
they were so sweet and
See,
so
people
nice.
are gonna be mad
And
about
they
the
were like, "Thank you so
Lapret
much, that was so fun."
because that's a
And
Final
then,
Fantasy 14
you could spot
representation.
the 14
when
player,
clearly
because
they're
they'd be
Final
like,
Fantasy 4
"Are there any
representations.
Loporits? Do
The
we have
Space Bunnies
Loporits?
are from
we
Final
going to
Fantasy
have the
4,
little
not
bunnies in here?"
14.
And we were just like, we'll talk about it in the future, hopefully. And here you go. Here's your little guy.
it shouldn't have
this
been a
is
mainline game. Okay.
Endwalker. Where
So
the
if
Loporits
8 is
are able to travel
if 8 never
around, their
happened
missions
because it's a
fulfilled, and we
paradox,
just wanted
11
a nice,
should not
fun,
have been a
cute moment.
mainline game.
Loporrit Scout, Rapid Scout, very clean, very understandable.
Oh, wait.
And
That's a different Black
some flavor
Chocobo.
text
Oh,
if you're familiar
side
with this
Chocobo.
particular quest
Okay,
line.
so you get a Black Chocobo
and I
for the
love how
side
this ends up
quest.
playing well in one of our archetypes we'll get to later as well. So
That's
it's,
funny.
It's a cute little rabbit, but it does hit hard. So don't
3-2,
underestimate the
yeah,
rabbits
man.
if you learned anything from Bloomborough.
Yeah.
Side quest Raise a Chocobo, of course you gotta have it, right?
Yep.
You gotta have the Chocobo
Yep.
side quest from Final Fantasy VII. And as the bird guy, I was like, I want to make this bird deck work.
Goddamn
so I
bird
kept making
decks.
cool bird cards that I liked, and this was a natural fit.
So
like the side
12,
quest where
I
you try and
think,
go
is
on to
like-
collect a bunch of birds, and then
12
turns
should
into
just be
that
in the
black
same
Chocobo,
category
which,
as,
you know, it's got two
tactics.
things that you should
The
be
whole
careful about
Evolysse
reading here. One is that you would
Final
go find any
Fantasies
land, not just a basic
Should not be
land,
Final
so
Fantasy.
whatever
So that
awesome
means
land you
Vagrant
have, you need to go
Story,
find.
Tactics,
And two, you're probably used to
and
reading
12.
your Chocobo gets +1/+0 when you play a
They
land.
should have never happened.
This landfall affects all your birds.
Or
So
they
all
don't
your
belong in
birds get
Final
+1/+0
Fantasy. They should just
when you play a
belong
land on the black
in, like,
Chocobo.
a
So
different-
really strong if you get to
It's
to
basically
transform
Star
it.
Wars.
And then of course my final little thing to point out is it transforms at the beginning of your first main phase. So if you're like me and it puts some flashing birds in your deck, like there's a couple in Bloomborough that do that, you can actually sneak it into untap with 3 birds and sneak in your 4th in time for this to transform.
One of the other things to call out too, when we were doing the concepts and art for the Black Chocobo, and then also back to Mountain Chocobo, in Final Fantasy VII, every Chocobo of coloration has a very specific function in the
Yeah.
overworld that allows you to go through different terrains that you're blocked off from doing. So the Mountain Chocobo, very specifically, we showed crossing a mountain. The Black Chocobo, we're showing very specifically crossing through river and waterlands. So we just wanted to make sure that it's a cute bird, yes, it's a cute mascot,
Yes,
but we want
it's
to
a
make
cute
sure that we
bird.
were showing every Chocobo in the environment in which the player would, raise them and then use them for. And then similarly with like Precious Wanderings, if you're not familiar with the character,
Precious
she is a
Wanderings.
character full of spirit, full of fight, full of tenacity.
Yeah.
And in the story, she's just constantly disappearing, constantly just leaving the hero, constantly just like, all right, I'm bored now, I'm going to do something else. And so we were trying to figure out like a concept for like, ramp and towns and things like that. We had a couple of ideas. And then we were talking about, 11. And then we just got into this conversation about like, oh yeah, like she's just kind of constantly disappearing,
Just
constantly visiting new
disappearing.
places. And it just turned out to be, I think, a very charming match for the mechanics here.
And one thing you
That's
don't
a deep
often
cut
see
for
from
sure.
a mechanical side is this is an instant ramp spell that puts a counter on a creature.
Yep.
So this is actually a sneaky combat trick, right? It'll trigger all your landfall stuff. It'll put a counter on the
combat
middle of combat.
trick.
So this card is I think a sleeper in limited in the set. It's in the red-green landfall deck. We'll get to in a little bit. It's a nice card, but also just middle of combat, get my land, put a counter on something. Surprisingly versatile.
Surprising.
All right.
And limited.
That is it for green cards. Now let's take a look at a pair of multicolor cards.
Multicolor.
Both
Oh,
quite strong.
Cloud of
Let's start
Darkness
with
being
Cloud of
reduced.
Darkness
Yeah,
here.
you've heard
Cloud
a
of
lot in this
Darkness
set.
being
Maybe
reduced
not
to
the
an
cloud you were
uncommon. What
expecting. Dylan, talk to us about
Man,
this.
these developers,
so this
man.
is the final boss in Final Fantasy III. Xande is a big, important character. The World of Darkness is a big, important character. And the Cloud of Darkness is kind of a manifestation of the World of Darkness. And very specifically here, we can see here she's using the Particle Beam ability, which you can see as
It's
kind of her
the
flavor
Executive
word.
X
But we
negative
also
where
do it in
X
the
is the
art
number of
because there's
permanents
actually
in your
a great game over animation that if you lose to Particle
God,
Beam,
are
you
you
get this
kidding
kind
me?
of scene where we're seeing all
Each
the heroes
creature
kind
an
of like
opponent
warped in this
controls
light,
gets
flashing
-X,
blue,
-X.
and then it fades to your game
Until
over.
the end
So
of turn where
perhaps
X
in this
is the
art in
number of
particular,
permanent
your level
cards in
wasn't
your
high enough. You
graveyard.
want to
Oh
grind
my
a little
God.
bit. But that's kind of the moment I always remember when I think of Cloud of Darkness because I died to her quite a lot.
And
Man.
as you might intuit for
Golgari
reading this card and just
busted.
drafting enough times.
But
Last
you
thing
the
about the
bucket.
graveyard in this set.
But you
true of mini
but
Magic
you
sets,
the
but
bucket.
especially this one. So you want to get permanent cards into your graveyard. We'll talk about that more in a second.
Legendary
5 mana
creature,
for your flyer
Dwarven
that kills
North.
off your opponent creature. Nothing
Dwarf
to be
Noble.
sad about.
I said Dwarble North.
On the right-hand side, we got Geot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Geot,
Yeah,
right? Geot, King of the Dwarves.
remind
this
me-
guy has some
Remind
funny
you
stuff
of
going
my
on.
negative X
When
this
he- when
weekend?
he
Yeah,
enters, you get to
exactly.
rummage. When an equipment enters, you get to rummage. Red, white, love equipment. But I do want to call out for all you dwarf fans out there.
Yep.
This is the king of the dwarves. I was like, we have to put some dwarf matters on this card. And so we did it. In fact, there is a common dwarf, even has Lally-Ho in the flavor text,
Lally-Ho!
that this pairs with. So you'll mostly rummage, of course, when you play your equipment, but every now and then you'll get a bit of dwarf synergy. And thanks to Dylan for making that happen. I was like, we got to have a common
Enters
dwarf.
100%,
whenever
no,
equipment
it was,
enters, you
like,
may
I was
discard
almost
a card if
begging
you do
to,
draw.
like one day show up at my desk and be like, what if we did this? Yes, I'm ready. The concepts are good to go.
Dwarf
I've got
decks.
the scene. The tanks are here. I was very happy we were able to sneak this in.
And of course, suiting up your double striker with equipment is exactly
it's
where you
no
want
joke.
to be.
Yeah, it's no joke.
All right.
Double
Well,
strike.
let's move on to some artifacts.
Monk Fist.
We've got some pretty interesting selections here. Where do you want to start, Gavin?
Okay.
Well, let's start with the legendary.
The
artifacts
Ring
here.
of
Let's start with the
Lucius.
ring. So this is a
The
mana
Ring
rock
of Lucius
and ice
is an
manipulator effect
uncommon?
all in one, right? So on turn 4,
Wow.
you're going to be ramping up a little bit, casting some of those big spells, getting your behemoth out of turn
I-
early, something
I
like
just
that.
said
But
that
the
Final
problem with
Fantasy
these mana rock
15
cards, it's always like, okay, well now I'm out of
has
cards in my
no,
hand. I'm
like,
stuff to do.
representation,
Well,
and
you
this
put
is just-
a little bit of life.
this is a
to lock
travesty,
down
man.
Whatever your opponent has, and kind of icy manipulator down.
I
the
recently just watched the ending
Yeah,
of Final
and
Fantasy
in-game,
15.
like, towards the end of it, when you finally get access to
And
its
man,
ability,
this is so
It's a
sad.
moment where
It's
Noctis
such a
only
sad
has
game.
access to the ring, and with
A
it
lot
has
of Final
a
Fantasies are
wealth of
sad,
power and
but
ability behind
that
it,
one in
but you
particular
are
was
using
just
your
a
life force,
sad-
You're using your health to utilize this. So that pain of
Sadder.
one life is a nice connection to that moment where you are desperately using this to go up against every demon on your own.
And then we also just have,
Kings
the
of
colorless
Lucius.
drop
It
plus
says
equipment,
that
right? So
he's-
Monk's Fist
that's
comes down.
literally
Kind
the
of your,
line at the very end.
offense
It's
set,
like,
so you
King
do
of
2 mana,
Lucius,
2/1
come to
colorless creatures,
me.
which is kind of what this is. But once again, it's 2 pieces of material for 2 mana, and you get to move it around, put it on something else if you want to.
Survey,
So,
sacrifice,
it really,
destroying target non-land
creates for some
permanent.
great fodder to sacrifice away, or just have an extra artifact on the board for say the blue-white deck.
And it's also in the Final Fantasy I of the original 6 jobs that you could pick from. And so you can see this is kind of our
The
interpretation
original
of the
art.
very classic sprite that the black belt or the monk kind of begins as, in a very the background of all the Final Fantasy I job select cards are all very specific dungeons or temples or overworld areas. So we're very curious if people want to hunt across those cards and see where we selected to put them.
Yeah. And then
That's the Wind
Pandora
Cave?
here, as Chad has pointed out, that is a legendary common.
Yeah, we do not do this very much.
Too
But
legendary.
first of all, before I talk about the design of it, Dylan, why don't you fill everyone in on what the Lunatic Pandora is?
Yeah, so I'm going to be very sensitive about the story behind this. It's a very
Spoiler.
critical lore point and plot
Yeah.
point in Final Fantasy VIII. You can kind of see that Zell is telling us in the flavor text what it does. It has a very inspired design, and it has this very kind of like haunting presence throughout the story of Final Fantasy VIII. I won't say anything further than that because it's definitely, if you're
spoiler
waffling, if you
territory.
should go play 8, again, you should go try it out. But it is a very unique creative with a unique design. I think that's what we'll go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's common. It's got a bit of unique stuff going on. You can surveil a little bit and then eventually sacrifice it. One of the things is we worked, as we mentioned before, in our other streams, we worked really closely with Square on this set. We had a lot of great back and forth feedback and collaboration. And at one point, we showed them the Lunatic Pandora, and they were like, "This should really be legendary, right? It's an iconic part of the game. It's a super iconic thing." And we're like, "All right, well, you know what? They're the experts, and they're right. Let's make it legendary." And you usually
That's
don't want to play a
kind of
ton of these
an
in a limited deck
oxymoron,
anyway,
though,
but
because
and you
it's a
can
legendary
sacrifice once you
artifact
get to
that's
6 mana, so
common.
you can use your second one there, but do not just don't play your second one. That would go poorly for you.
I don't know about
And then
that,
Iron
Chief.
Giant, of course.
Iron
just-
Giant.
Yeah.
I don't
Big
know
guy.
about
What it
that
says.
one,
He's
Chief.
He's a big guy, they're big in game, they hit you hard, and that's what he's going to do.
Especially the Ring of Lucius.
Dylan,
Although
question
it
from
doesn't
Chad,
do a
why is this
lot.
demon and not a
There's that
giant?
hallway
Yeah,
where
so
you
that's-
use
that's
the Ring
talked
of
about
Lucius.
Yeah,
but
we
you
had a lot of
literally
discussions
cast
about
X,
this very specifically.
X Zone and Death.
It's a fantastic question, and that is where my instinct went to. But we did have a chance to talk to the Final Fantasy 15 team about creature types, like every team that we did, and kind of the creative behind everything.
Oh,
and so
I just-
sort of the
I literally
lore
went over the fact that he
inside
adds 2
of
mana.
Final Fantasy 15 and many other games is that even though the name is Iron Giant, this is very specifically a demonic manifestation that becomes imbued inside of some either statue, suit of armor, or other sort of kind of vessel.
So it's an
and
artifact
so
creature
that's
demon.
the kind of next layer. If the name should mean something, we're going to go talk to the team, and then they're going to tell us, well, this is what we were imagining. This is the very specific lore to the world. And so when you're looking at this, the artifact side of this is the demon inhabiting something and becoming that expression of the Iron Giant.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of discussion about, say, creature types and things like that online, and I really want to, I think it's amazing. We got to work with Square, and like we ran everything through them, all the names, the flavor text, the creature types at all. Like they got to give feedback on it and let us know like cool little flavor nods like that.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Because that's where we started too. That's what we put in the file, and we sent it over, and they were like, hey, so in our world, XYZ. And it's like, yep, that's awesome. Like we can be as fans and do as much research as we want, but they made the game, and they know it even better than us, right? So,
They know it
we got to
even
collaborate
better
on
than
those
we
kinds
do.
of things. But it's a fantastic question.
And how cool is it to be able to send over stuff to Square and have them be like, oh, actually, let me tell you the deep lore.
Yeah,
Like, oh, okay,
yeah.
no, let's
You
hear
didn't read the
deep lore.
bestiary entry. Well, here it is. I wrote it.
Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool. What an amazing experience.
All right, and then our final two cards before we start talking draft archetypes, we've got a pair of lands here.
Crossroads.
2 towns. Tell us about these.
Well, the Crossroads Village is a riff on something we've seen a number of times now, right? The land that enters tapped, you choose a color, and it adds 1 mana of any chosen color. But this one is a town, so if you're drafting the town
Eden,
deck,
the seat of
as you'll see in a
sanctum.
moment, the town deck is kind of
Huh.
blue-green base. But really, you'll end up playing
Interesting.
3, 4, or even 5 colors. So having that kind of flexibility on it is really nice.
Yeah, and then the flavor text here, you've got to destroy the Dreadnought. This is in Final Fantasy II. This is one of the things back in the day when you would play an early Final Fantasy game. You'd walk into a new town, and every NPC would have a line of dialogue that was trying to point you into direction, give you a quest. And so when you go into Bafsk, which is the village that we have depicted here, one of the earliest NPCs you can talk to, he just like grabs Furion by the shoulders, like, you've got to destroy the Dreadnought. And so that's just like one of those funny things that kind of sat with us and kind of stuck with us. And we were trying to figure out like, oh, what do we say about this town?
The city,
and we kind of thought about
Cocoon's
like,
capital,
well, once you
shares
go here, you
its
kind of
name
kick
with
off
the
this quest to go
Fal'Cie
find the
patron.
Emperor's airship, the Dreadnought. And that's kind of what we wanted to move forward with.
Eden, on the flip side, is a land I think is a very, it's kind of a unique mechanical thing for a land to be able to do here, of milling some cards and then getting something back. If you're drafting the town deck, the game will go along. You don't want to be able to recur your win condition. But also, it's not just for towns. There's all kinds of decks that will want
That's
this.
actually
The
kinda
black-green
cool.
deck may want to pick up a permanent from its graveyard. Or frankly, any 2-color deck just was happy to have 5 mana, mill 2 cards, and get my best permanent in the mid-game. So
Yeah.
really, really nice here. And of course,
That's a pretty
Eden,
decent
Eden
land.
sacrifices. So there you go.
Yeah, and then the flavor text says it all, right? The city, Cocoon's capital, shares its name with its Fal'Cie patron. So if you're familiar with the events of Final Fantasy 13, this is an area that is alluded to a lot, that you see a lot. There's a particularly super cool cutscene that happens here, and of course, it's the site of one of your final fights in the game.
Yep.
All right. Let's move into talking about the limited archetypes. I do want to say before we do that,
Artifacts.
to everyone out there, oh, why isn't this card? Where's this card? Previews are not over. This is not the last day of previews.
Equipment
They are
aggro,
going,
grave value,
tomorrow and Thursday with the full
control,
card image gallery
artifacts.
going up on Friday. So if there's still
I
something
want
you're looking
Go
for,
back.
could still be out there.
There are a few legends still to be shown off,
Yes.
so just stay tuned.
Yeah, Rip and Freddy,
All right,
your
back to
Eldrazi deck.
limited
Yeah, I
archetypes.
know.
So we had the graphic up there for a moment. There it is again. So this is a quick
Landfall
overview. We're gonna go
aggro. I
through
think that's
each of
going to be
these
the
individually,
that
so you
is
don't
going
have
to be
stay
the
on this
type,
very
or that's
long.
going to be the most
You're gonna
popular
find this insert in Play Booster
format,
boxes
for sure.
So when
For
you
draft.
head to pre-release, when you
Because
pick
there's
up
just so
your
much good
pre-ordered
bird
boxes,
landfall shit.
You're gonna get one of these and be able to look at it and have a handy.
I don't
little
see any other
reference.
thing being
But let's go through these
maybe,
one by one. We're just go in this
white
order. So
black?
let's take a look at artifacts first.
with sacrificing and
Yeah,
gaining
Blue
stuff.
archetype.
So the blue-white
There's a lot of
artifacts
sacrifice
deck
effects
is,
in Final Fantasy.
well, you want to play artifacts, it makes sense. But there's a lot of ways to accrue artifacts in this set, especially job select equipment, right? The job select equipment.
I
is
mean,
very
if you
double
can get a
duty
counter
as
deck
being
going-
creatures that also come with an artifact attached to them. So this cargo ship, for example, can help
I'm terrible
power
at
out
draft.
job select equipment early, which is great, and all manner of other artifacts you might have lying around. Galacat, we talked about earlier. This card is actually a house. 3 mana,
Yeah.
it's really easy to make this a 3 mana, 3/3 flying vigilance. Getting 2 artifacts in this set is not very difficult. So really, really strong common here for
Yeah, but
white.
he's a human
and
warrior.
then Tidus as your signpost, or one of your signpost uncommons here. Tapping stuff and getting bigger, really strong.
I've got nothing to add, but this is probably my favorite flavor text in the main
Cargo
set.
ship.
Every blitzer knows when you got the ball, you got to score.
One other thing I'll just call out about our gold uncommons in this set, because I think a lot of people are used to these being the signposts. That's kind of how it works here, but there is a bit of a difference from normal. So
Okay.
every color gets 2 gold uncommons. One of them is like the direct signpost, like Tidus here. Clearly it wants you to play artifacts, tap, and get through and kind of do tempo-y stuff to your opponent. The other gold card can, sometimes it's on theme, but many times it's just like a strong limited card, right? You don't have to be doing the archetype to be able to put this card in your deck and have it be good, because sometimes you're drafting blue-white, but you're not drafting artifacts. You're
But you're
drafting
not.
red-white, and you're not drafting equipment, and it's just a generically strong card. It'll be good in that deck. We made sure that they all, like, were still strong if you're doing that thing, but they're not necessarily all having the words of the archetype on them. So if you're seeing some of them and wondering, like, oh, what's up with this card? Well, that's
What's
going
up
on
with
there.
this card?
All right. Next up, we're going to look at the white-black archetype.
Yep.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah, so this is
Judge
your sacrifice
Maester.
stack. So this likes sacrificing creatures and
AKA
artifacts.
Darth
So,
Vader.
As I mentioned earlier, the job select equipment are awesome for this. White Mage's Staff comes with 2 pieces of material. The Ahriman can throw both of them away to draw you cards. And then Judge Magister Gabranth, who I know is a character many folks were
Gabranth.
excited for from Final Fantasy XII, is here as your signpost uncommon. And
Whenever
he gets
another
big
creature or
and hits
artifact
hard.
Yeah, it
you
was
control
kind
dies,
of important for us
the +1/+1
early on
on
to figure
him.
out
And
the
menace.
spread of legends across the set, of course. But then when we had the next conversation, well, who's supposed to lead archetypes? Who's supposed to be the thing? Oh, I understand what we're going to do with this draft archetype. I think Gabranth was one of the easier ones to land on because I feel like Black-White is such a fantastic color identity to explain his character and
Yeah.
also his mechanics, and then also how he plays inside the story. So I think this was one of the earliest ones that we landed on that we were very confident that if you're either familiar with the source material or if you just looked at the guy, you would understand what you're going to do, how you're going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Great card. I see it on a lot of tables and limited. And to your point, right, making it an uncommon signpost.
I mean, the fact that it's
means
flying Death
a lot
Touch
of
at 3
drafting is going to be a card you were looking
is
for. You're
pretty-
really excited about
and
in limited.
2/2 is pretty gnarly. And it
cool
has-
to match those up with
You
the
just
archetypes.
sacrifice something and draw a card. You're basically
Well,
just
and Gavin, I want to emphasize something
getting-
you said a
just-
couple
yeah, you're
times, is
buffing
that I
him
love the
and
double
drawing a
duty
card.
that
That's so
Job
good.
Select does, especially on the white equipment, where you need white equipment for your equipment deck, which gives you need often balancing equipment and creatures is challenging. But then in the white-black archetype, you just you get 2.
Yeah, I know.
things that
I know
can
you have to pay
sacrifice
3
if
to
you
do
need
it,
to.
but like
Job Select is really pulling a
it's
lot
just-
of weight as
like I
blue
said,
in this set. It does. We'll
I'm
get
pretty
into some
sure
other
that
archetypes later
the
that also
best
love for totally
archetype
different reasons. So
for this
turns out
draft
having non-creatures
it's going to
that are
be
creatures
green
that create 2
white
pieces
or
of
no
material,
green red because
really, really
landfall
structurally
and the
important for this
birds are
set.
just so powerful.
All right, let's move
And
on
if you happen
to
to- if you get a pocket
blue
Tifa-
black, which is looking to do controlling sort of thing.
Lock.
Yeah, so blue black
oh
is
no,
control.
they
That'd be
made
like
him
just control.
a
No special kind of control.
common.
It's kind of classic Magic.
I'm
you know, we
so
wanted to harken
upset they
back
made
to
him a
some
common.
Classic limited archetypes in the set. So maybe if you're coming into Final
But the
Fantasy for
alternate
first
art
time,
for him
or
is
you played a
sick.
while ago and are coming back, or sorry, you're coming to Magic for the
Yeah,
first
uncommon,
time.
I
You can
mean, yeah,
find something
sorry.
that is like really
They made him
easy
an
to grab onto. Like,
uncommon.
oh, I understand what's trying to go on here. So the blue black deck is just control. It's just kill your opponent's stuff. lock it
Whenever you
down,
do combat
draw
damage to a player,
cards,
draw a
gain
card, then
life,
discard a
play the
card.
long
Like,
game. But I
Death
do
Touch
wanna
Life
call
Link
out,
is pretty
for a little
cool,
hook,
but, like-
that there's a bunch of flashback stuff you want to doing in this
just-
deck because the game tends to go long. So if you want, you can use a little bit of
He's
self
just
mill, a little bit of
good.
looting, like on
And,
Lock
okay.
here, to dump your flashback cards.
Let's be real. What's real talk here? Real talk. Out of all the cast in Final Fantasy VI, let's just be honest. Mug at its best, right? Thieves' Glove turns into Mug. He doesn't naturally get Mug. It's Steel, right? Compared to not well, but he's like, I think he's just like a solid red. There's 2 versions of lock. There's like there's the red lock, or there's the commander deck lock, and then there's this lock. Red black. Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, compared to Blitz, compared to Tools, compared to Throw, compared to Rage, compared to everything, all of the abilities that the other cast gets, Steel/Mug is pretty weak. I'm gonna admit it. Locke is my favorite character. He's pretty much the character I base my art type on. But for the sake of like power rating, right? Power rating. He is definitely, and I feel like he's in the uncommon range. Now, if they do another Sabin, or if they do an Edgar, or a Shadow, like those motherfuckers better be rare. I'm just saying, because Blitz is just way too fucking powerful. Tools is way too fucking powerful. Throw can be fucking deadly, but you got to be throwing like the good shit. And then like, yeah, I mean, it's just, and they already made Terra fucking GOAT, and they already made the Commander Celeste's fucking GOAT. So it's just like, it sucks that like Strago and Realm are a dual card. They're basically attached at the
graveyard.
hip. That sucks, but it is what it is.
And get extra value out of them.
Because
Right?
I
If you loot
think
away a
Blue
flashback
Lore,
card,
I think
it's kinda
Lore
like
and
still drew
Sketch
an extra card
are
there.
pretty unique.
So there's a bit of controlling that can happen there, but overall,
But basically
just wanna play
turn
the
them
long
into
game,
ability
kill your
cards,
opponent's stuff and kill them with a big
it's
creature.
whatever.
Yeah, even to your point, putting Locke here as one of the archetype faces, you see a black-blue rogue, and if you're a Magic player, you're like, oh, okay, I kind of get that. I kind of know that. I've played that before. It's got Death Touch. That's cool. But even
He's
like
cool.
down to
That's
the
just like,
aesthetic
that's
of
cool.
Locke, wearing a lot of black and highlighted by a blue, a lot of these character designs really come to life in the mana colors, either in the personality or visually in their costume design. So again, when a lot of conversations we had were, you're a Final Fantasy fan, we're going to introduce you to Magic. What is every possible way we could help introduce you to Magic? What are the things that we can teach you about wider Magic? I think Locke is a very good example of a very subtle way that we were able to do that.
All right, next up is one of my favorite archetypes from this set.
Oh,
We've
shit,
got
shit.
blue-red, which is doing some cool things here.
Blue,
Yes, we
red,
went from a very
blah.
classic archetype to a very unique archetype. I feel like every limited format gets one or two archetypes that you're like,
Dun-dun-to-to.
huh, I haven't seen this before. That's kind of fresh and
Dun-ton-to-to.
interesting. And often what happens there is we're like trying to figure out the last couple archetypes, and we're looking at all the other things we have and like what kind of fits in naturally. And we ended up with this very unique deck, this blue-red deck that wants you to cast
Blue-red.
non-creatures and spend at least 4 mana to cast them. Now, there's a lot of ways to get around that, as I mentioned earlier. Job select equipment, once again, pulling incredible double
Yeah.
duty here, right? Those
Yep.
4 mana job select equipment will trigger these guys.
And the 4
Your
level
tiered
cost
spells will trigger
magics.
these. If you spend at least
Yeah,
4
they're
mana to cast them,
definitely-
your flashbacks will usually trigger
This is a
these.
very
And it's
expensive
sort of like
set.
this fun little tempo-y deck where you play cards like Blazing Bomb.
Very
or
expensive
Ultros,
set, for
And then you
sure.
start casting your big spells, and quickly your opponent ends up under this cavalcade of like you getting an advantage, your stuff getting larger, Chateau refunds you cards, and so on. Ultros especially, Obnoxious Octopus
Ultro.
is the right name for this guy
Oh,
because
yeah.
stunning all your opponent's stuff.
Oh,
is
yeah.
brutal.
Noxious Octopus.
I've been the bad guy internally. This is the deck I always play. I know I should branch out. I know I should test other things. But every time I go and I play this archetype, and I always have
Buddy.
so much fun. And do not let me get a copy of Ultros. It's exactly like going up against him in every game. You're like, all right, I get it. And I've got all the one-liners memorized, so I always say them to everyone. They're like, yeah, cool. Is it my turn?
yeah.
The other thing I'll call it with Ultros is you might be seeing that 8 mana call out. It's like, when am I going to have an 8 mana non-creature spell in my deck, Gavin? Well, I'll say once again, tiered lets that happen kind of naturally,
Yeah.
right? So you put the tiered spells in your deck. You have the 4 mana mode, great, no problem. That'll trigger it the first time. But in the long game, if you flood out, you can use the expensive mode to actually octopus up Ultros. Of course, 8 counter is
Yeah.
critical for our octopus friend here, and you'll get both those triggers there. So really nice.
Well, and you've also got flashback costs as well.
The
That's
fucking
limited to 8
tentacles.
mana. Yeah,
Goddamn
a lot of cool synergy
tentacles.
there. All right, let's move on to this. Might be my second favorite archetype, black red, which is again, this is a unique take on black red as well.
See, I don't
normally
think
we do the
black
kind of
red's gonna be all
prowessy
that
stuff
powerful.
In blue red, but when we came up with the black mage tokens, they were such a hit. Everyone loved the black mage tokens. I went to the Council of Colors and was like,
The
can we do
Council
it
of Colors.
in this set as black red? And they did a little bit of work and gave me some
Yeah,
parameters.
Ultros is only
but they were
uncommon
like,
boost.
yes, you can
But,
do
like,
it
really,
as prowess deck as
I
black
kind of
red.
feel that
you
it
have
fits.
all these non-creature
Because
tokens around that just ping your
all he
opponent,
really
which
does
feels
is
so
do
great
tentacles.
for a black mage, right? You're casting your non-creature
And he's
spells
obnoxious.
boop, just death by 1,000 cuts. But you can also pump them up as Circle of Power does here.
when he
you know,
teams
plus
up with
plus
what's
on
his
lifelink.
face,
And then this uncommon,
becomes more
Black Wolf
dangerous
number
because the
3,
guy
that
sneezes.
is the card you want. If you untap with this, you will be just dealing tons of damage to your opponent.
I think one of the things that I was very excited about with this archetype was to show the variety of black mage designs across Final Fantasy.
I think
When you
any
look at,
black
like, archetypes and jobs and
Cards
classes.
will be
I
more
feel like
focused on
towards the
using
top,
black.
Black Mage is one of the most iconic, easy to understand.
Using
yeah,
black
I remember
spells
that, and it's
rather
kind
than
of
creating
almost in
black
every single
mages,
game. It
but
has an aesthetic
black
in every
mage
game.
tokens, but I
so
guess
making it a full archetype
that's gonna be the
was
way
a great way
they,
to send a
I
love
guess,
letter to this aesthetic,
subsidize
to this kind of like cultural
black spells
touchstone
with
of
creatures
design
with
of what
black mage
Final Fantasy
tokens.
is and what people iconically relate to it. And so being able to do black mages across 4 and 9 and 14 and a variety of other titles.
Yes.
I was so excited that that was going to be like a full dedicated archetype, and I will definitely say do not sleep on this. There is a lot of things that you can do.
I'm definitely
we
sleeping.
previewed some
I
cards in
sleep.
the past that really make this a very powerful
I sleep.
archetype.
I sleep so
I won
hard.
like my first internal play day with this deck. So lots of love
sleep
to have
so
here,
hard.
especially for Black Waltz.
so hard.
Yeah.
And just 2 other quick call-outs I'll give on the black mages because I think it's kind of fun. The first one is the circle power impacts all your wizards. Well, keep in mind that the job select equipment out there do confer their creature types, and so if a creature is
Wizard
holding, say,
control
a
get
black
+1
mage's rod,
and gain
it
life
will
link.
pick up that
That's right.
bonus. So there's a tiny little bit of a type-based synergy happening here. So that's pretty cool. And then finally, just once again, job select equipment, double duty here, right? You cast your job select equipment spell. It
It's
is
a
a non-creature. They take a damage. It really hooks into everything. That's why they're in all 5 colors. You know, they kind of do it all in this set.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this slide is the flavor text on Black Waltz number 3. The card itself deals 2 damage for each non-creature spell, whereas the tokens deal 1. And then the flavor text, you fool, do I look like some lowly black mage soldier?
I mean,
You look
no,
like
yeah.
2 little
Twice
black
as
mage soldiers. We
2
did
of
talk-
them.
I did petition to try and get this to deal 3 damage, but we playtested with that one time and it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that did not fly.
All right, let's move
Right.
on to black green. As noted,
duh.
this one's going to care about the graveyard.
Yeah, and specifically, it really cares about getting
Grand
permanent
Pulse
cards into your graveyard.
Ochu.
Of course, there are some double wins here. If you mill a
Ochu.
flashback card, that's not a permanent card, but hey, you're getting a
That
bit of
in
extra
turn,
value
this
out of
creature
that.
gets
But you
+1
do
for
want
each
permanent
permanent
cards
in your
generally
graveyard.
for cards like the Grand Pulse Ochu and Cloud of Darkness that are keying
That's
off the number of
insane,
permanents in
but-
your graveyard. Grand Pulse Ochu, for example, you might be like, man, an 8-mana activated ability, that's so slow, but this is a great card. You either trade with it early, in which case, by the way, that's +1 permanent in your graveyard,
Yeah.
or if your opponent kind of plays around it or you draw it late, you're like, no problem, I suddenly have an 8/8 creature that can attack starting next turn, which is really nice.
One of the things too
Indeed.
you'll see in a lot of the black-green cards, especially when you're building this
And you're
deck
rampant,
limited, is you'll have like
you
a
might
lot
as
of
well.
monsters or a lot of enemies or a lot of mobs that you fight a lot in Final Fantasy. So the Shinra reinforcements is a great example of that.
Yeah.
You know, in 7, you're going to fight
Build 3 cards, gain
hundreds
3
and
life.
hundreds and hundreds
Yeah.
of these guys. And then if you're going to play the remake, you're going to fight hundreds and hundreds of them more. And so being able to fill out certain colors and certain archetypes with things that you do a lot, things that you see a lot, things that are resonant enough, was definitely something we had our eye on for a very long time of where to employ them, where to push, where to pull. But the Shinra reinforcements to me kind of communicates like, especially in turn-based Final Fantasies, you fight a lot of the same monsters and same creatures multiple times. And so at common, you're going to see these monsters multiple
times. Exactly.
All right. Well, let's move on to the red-white archetype, which is all about equipment.
Yeah, well, here it turns out jobs equipment it doesn't
Weapon
just trigger things and need a piece of material. It also is, in fact, an equipment, which is what
When
we want
this
to be
creature
doing here
enters
in
draw a
the
card, at the
red-white
beginning of
equipment
combat turn,
deck.
you-
You're, of
if
course, going to
you
play your
control
fair
equipment, you
share
may
of
pay 1.
job select equipment, which
When you
as
do
Blake
attach
mentioned
target
earlier,
equipment, you-
there's always this struggle with equipment decks. How do you balance your
Yeah,
equipment
I
and
mean,
your creatures
it's
together to get
fine,
enough
but
to get
Captain
you
America
control
already does
equipment,
that,
your deck
and I
doesn't
don't have to
work?
pay 1.
Well, the job select equipment bridge that in a really satisfying way. Now, a lot of them have high equip costs because they already come with creatures, which the weapons vendor just no problem. 1 mana, toss that on to whoever I want.
Yeah, it was like a blast to figure out what kind of NPCs we want to bring in from Final Fantasy. What are their like? Oh, are they shopkeepers? Are they blacksmiths?
Yeah,
are they
the
what
samurai
kind of vendor
katana,
are they?
pretty
And bring them
cool.
in and find very satisfying
cool.
effects that kind of bridge the gap between what they do in the game, what they're going to do in Magic, and the weapons vendor very specifically is a card you're going to want
but I
for
think
a wide
it's,
variety of decks. He's helped me out quite a lot of
what was
times,
it,
and also
the one that
trying
was
to figure out
basically
what
just the
games it was
dagger
supposed to
that I
come
was
from. You'll
saying
see
that was, like,
a lot of
complaining
other
about how
cards
it was
we've already previewed.
straight up just
are
the,
different, are
hidden
definitely trying to
dagger
pull on that like you're in
from
town
Final
for the first
Fantasy
time.
or from
Right,
Assassin's
this
Creed.
character specifically is from the Sector 7 slums.
I was like,
and so they're
this
trying to kind
card-
of pull on that world building. They're going to do exactly what you expect them to do in some capacity.
We kind of have this 5-card
They
cycle
did
of
last
common,
week.
1 for each color, that is just a townsfolk. We call them the townsfolk cycle. It's like this
The
is a vendor
townsfolk.
or a shopkeeper or something like that you would find. Just because in any Final Fantasy game,
All
you'll
right.
find someone selling you weapons. So once again, just having that there at common is really nice to just nod, no matter if you've played that game or not.
Good RPG tropes.
Yeah.
All right, we got 7 minutes to do 3 more archetypes.
We can
All
do
right,
it.
we can do it.
7
All right.
minutes.
Red green.
Landfall.
Landfall. Yep.
It's not original, but it is fun. It is you get your landfall stuff into play. You play lands. You play cards that get you lands. Once again, that Call the Mountain Chocobo is a real linchpin
Yeah.
card for this archetype. Just getting you an extra land,
It's
letting
so
you make sure you're
good.
keeping your land drop slate, and giving you a token. I also want to call out Ride the Shoe Puff,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I am so
The
happy
Shoe
we got
Puff.
into the set. This is a card that it's a very fun thing to say.
Whenever
And
a land
another one
enters
of those cards
control,
you
put
play
also
early,
on target
counters
creature
on
control.
stuff.
That's
When you
fucking
flood out
sick.
late, boom, you got a 7/7.
Yeah, it doesn't
For
say
a
it on the
2?
rules text, but there should be reminder text that says when you activate the 7
Ride
cost
the
there,
Shoe
you do have to read
All
the flavor text out loud.
Yeah.
You say all aboards and you go full swing to win the game.
We'll get that in the comp rules.
Yeah, thank you.
The comp rules.
All right. Tell
And then
us about
Gladios, yeah.
Green white.
It's +2/+2
What do we have
trample
going
to
on
end a
in
turn.
This archetype.
Well, green white wants to go wide.
Boring,
Right? Kind of your classic
but-
green white go wide archetype.
Just
So using
boring.
cute little Laporte Scout alongside Aerith
Create a
Rescue
dumb
Mission. Suddenly
dog.
the Scout is attacking for 6 damage on turn 4, so not too shabby. And then Renoa, of course, pumping a creature equal to all the creatures you control, which is pretty nice. So go wide. Lots of things make tokens, and you can also just play creatures every turn. Play a couple creatures. You'll trigger your effects.
Trigger
Absolutely.
your effects.
And finally, also, I keep saying this, but also one of my favorite archetypes. We've got the green-blue Towns Ramp archetype.
Also one of my favorite
Omega.
archetypes. This one is a blast
Wow.
to draft. Kind of like Gates in Ravnica, if you've ever drafted one of those. You have a lot of cards with town riders on them. This town greeter is a Satyr Wayfinder, but also picks up 2 life if you happen to grab a town. The merchant here can loot early and then late. You can sack it away for cheap to
merchant.
draw a bunch of cards. And this signpost uncommon, Omega, taps and stuns one of your opponent's creatures for probably a long time.
Yeah.
Probably a long
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of equivalent to killing it in many cases and gives you life, kind of that big stopgap card.
That's a
Not to mention,
huge
it is
payoff, though.
Even if you've got nothing else going on, it's a 7 mana 8/8, which is nothing to shake a stick at either. So a very nice card. And if you're drafting this deck, a couple things to keep in mind. You will usually be more than 2 colors because you're going to want to play a lot of different towns. So
Yeah.
you'll splash 3, 4, colors, whatever. We'll go maybe even all 5 if you're going wild. And
Go
just-
wild.
Off-color towns are okay, right? Maybe you end up playing a town that is a half color you can't use. That's fine. You just need to have town critical mass to do things like discount your merchant and pick up Omega. So really fun deck to draft. I love this one. And if the towns start floating late, if they loop the table, I'm grabbing them. There's the tap lands are all the 2-color towns, and they appear in about half the booster pack. So half the packs have basic lands. The other half will have those tapped town duels. So there's gonna be a lot of towns floating around in the draft because there's also plenty of other towns on top of those.
All right, and that is our look at the limited archetypes for
Limited.
Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy. Previews are continuing tomorrow and
Yep.
Thursday, and then Friday is the full card image gallery, and that is
Oh, God.
everything at that point, leading into the pre-release
Which
following weekend.
I definitely will
let's
be
put
doing
that
a
last
stream on
graphic
that
up
for
there.
sure.
So we are almost here. It has been a really long journey for us to get to the pre-release, the
Yeah.
release, but. Any final thoughts? This is the last kind of show
The
before.
last-
Palms are sweating just thinking about it. It's like it's finally here. It's finally about. No, my only final thought. I said this at PAX, and I'll say it every time you see me. I really hope you have fun. We made this set for you. I really hope you enjoy it. I hope you go play your favorite game again. I hope you try a new game that you found a cool card in the set.
And it's so special. We've been working on this for a long time, and to finally think pre-release is a couple weeks away, and you have to go actually out and play and see everyone playing. I am so stoked. And I think, we talked about limited a lot today. I think the limited format is really fun, and I cannot wait to go try it out. I know I'm going to be trying it out on Magic the Gathering Arena too. So go check it out, and I hope you have fun with it.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, too, for taking us on a tour of Final Fantasy. Next week, we'll be here to crack some packs. So if you want
Crack
to get a
some
look
packs.
at what the pack opening experience is going to be like ahead of the pre-release, we're going to do that on the show next week. So tune in then. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Bye. All right. So, also want to discuss some things that they announced on the whatchamacallit. They released this on the how many people want to see it exactly. Let us. So they have this update, which will actually probably get me into playing Arena for Brawl. Because so they have the streamer event begins June 4th. See new cards. during the Set Magic Arena streamer event on June 4th. And that's the image gallery introducing Stone Still Set, but that's who cares. But they go into like, oh, look, check out pre-order Final Fantasy, the bundle pack. Then they have the play booster, which I'm probably going to get because I want the Moogle Companion. And then the pass bundle also gives, like, this is what I'm saying. This is like the first time I might actually play Arena Brawl specifically, because they have like the Jace and Chandra Chocobo that I kind of want to get, plus these Final Fantasy cards. But they're also introducing Partner Commander. And these are like the two. Remember I said that these were going to be the two cards I was going to use because it gives me 4 colors, so it gives me the widest gambit of cards to make my Final Fantasy 15 deck. So I'm still hoping maybe next week they will unveil. You were talking about, Lazy Dargan, how the gift bundle, they haven't said what the special cards out of that is. My guess, like I said, my dream would be Jill being like green-white partner card. I don't know if there is a partner card that's green-white. Because I think green-blue. Sorry, green-blue. So it'd be green-blue, red-black would be my set. So I'd have everything but white. Actually, that would kind of suck. I just need a Warburg. I need a Warburg, the Final Fantasy 15 stuff, just because. But this, I guess, is a decent spread too. White, blue, red, black. But yeah, this will actually get me to play partners in Arena as part of Final Fantasy Through the Ages. But oh my, really? Through the Ages bonus set, several legendary creatures with the partner ability will make its debut on the Magic Arena. That means you'll be able to play 2 commanders in Brawl. Get ready for a whole new world of deck building. And then, in case you had some reprints, and then event schedules. Midweek Magic, Stepping Stone, June 17th through 18th is Constructed, Quick Draft, Final Fantasy. And it's on their event schedule. Is this on Twitch? Qualifiers, Premier Play, Premier Events, Store Construct, May season rankings. Yeah, so that's that was pretty much it for. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to play. I like that Boss Rodfield is a goblin berserker. He's a bit of a goblin in the game. He acts like a bit of a goblin. But yeah, 5 golden packs, 50 Magic the Gathering, baby. Available on June 11th. Man, $50 though for digital cards. I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as what we're spending on physical cards, but still, man. But let's go take a look at the Final Fantasy image gallery. Let's see if there's any new cards. We always want to take a look at the new cards. So we got Ash. That's an uncommon. Battle menu. I think this is fucking amazing. Fucking battle menu with a white attack ability magic item. Choose one. It's an instant or source. It's an instant. Man, magic. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Item. Gain 4 life. Ability. Target creature gets +0/+4 and attack. Create 2 white knight. I don't like the attack part, but it is what it is. But the fact that they chose the Final Fantasy VI art is kind of cool. Dion. Bahamut's Dominant. Dragon Dive on your turn. Dion and other knights you control have flying. The Dragoons. The Dragoons. When Dion enters, create a 2/2 white knight creature token. Exile Dion and return it to its battlefield transform under its controller. It's 6. And it's a saga. Warden of the Light. Wings of Light. Put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. Those creatures gain flying until the end of turn. Giga Flare. Giga Flare. Too bad that it wasn't Zeta Flare. Because only 2 creatures had ever been able to cast Zeta Flare. Dion and Donald Duck. They're the only people that have ever casted Zeta Flare. Goddamn Kingdom Hearts. It sucks that he doesn't give himself the +1/+1 counters. That he's just a straight up gives everybody counters and flying. Destroy target permanent. Exile, then... Okay, so he just destroys a target permanent. That's actually pretty sick. Magitech Infantry. This creature gets +1 as long as you're another artifact under control. I'm really sad that they didn't do, like... you can have any unlimited amount of... That's... What's his flip? That's the flip. So other knights have flying because they're dragoons. You should really play Final Fantasy 16. It's amazing. I highly recommend playing 16. I think it's under our Steam shared library. If not, wait, do I own 15? Or not 15, 16. Do I own 16? Thought I did. I'm pretty sure I do, but I might not. Might have been one of those Final Fantasies where I was like, I own it on console. I'm not going to rebuy it. Final Fantasy. No, I don't. I own Final Fantasy 4, 6, 7 OG, 7 Rebirth, 7 Remake, and 15. Man. You know what? I don't have the physical copy of 16 on my PlayStation. That's the other bummer. I have to think about if I'm going to put that on my Steam library or if I'm going to buy a physical copy of it. Because I own the physical copy of 7 and 7 Remake Intergrade. Just because they're not going to take that shit away from me. As much as I'm not a fan of Final Fantasy 7 Remake or Rebirth, it is like a pivotal milestone in video gaming. But either way, yeah, I was kind of hoping the Magitech Infantry would be something along the lines like a Rabbit Apparent or like the Knights Templars. Search your library for name Magitech, put it in the battlefield, then shuffle. But the fact that it doesn't you can't have any unlimited number of them that's the part I don't like. This creature gets +1/+0 as long as you control another artifact. And then you search your library for a card named Magitech Infantry and put it into your battlefield, tap, then shuffle. But that means in standard, you can only have 4. So it's whatever. It's a 4/1. You have 4 1/1s. You have 4 4/1/1s. Kind of weak. Kind of weak sauce. Minru, the white mage. They kind of teased his return when they were like, oh yeah, this is through the Aegis card, but he might appear in a different card. Human Cleric. Yep. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on each cleric you control. That's nice. Restorative magic. Gotta have the Kira. Target permanent gains hexproof and indestructible. Nice. Kira. Target permanent gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, and I gain 3 life. And Kiraga. Permanent you control gains hexproof and indestructible, and you gain 6 life. Okay. All right. Not the best, but okay. Ultima. I knew they were probably going to do this. Such devastation. This was not my intent. I gotta... Hold on. I wish I could make a sound clip of that. Damn it. I wish he was here. I wish you were here. to make the sound bite for me about Ultima. I'm not sure if I still want the alt art Ultima or if I like this art Ultima. The fact that it's not just a regular standard card, or that it was like a secret, it was a what's it called, like a promo card, and it's kind of crazy that like this card exists, but yeah, it's gonna be another one of those like Game Ender cards that people are gonna love. Alt art, great. Oh, and he has the fucking flower. That's such a great callback. People don't sleep on Final Fantasy 16. It's super good. It's not the best Final Fantasy, but it's definitely, I would definitely put it up there. I think in one of my past streams, I have like a ranking. I might have to do another ranking just for the YouTube. But I think I honestly believe, let me double check. I want to check and see if it's, it has to be the final, it had to been the final episode of the Final Fantasy 16 playthrough. I'm pretty confident I did a tier list at the end of that. Let's see. Is this it? Did you miss me? Is that what I... Did you miss me yet? Oh no, that's Sunday Fun Day. That's all Hunt. Into a Dark Place. Yeah, I am finished with this game. Let's see. I want to check it out. Let me mute this. You guys will probably hear it. Yep, I did do a tier list. Where did let's see. Hold on. I did do a tier list. So challenge to one out of all the Final Fantasy. So I did do a tier list. So I'm gonna say there's gonna be some problems, because some of these Final Fantasies are so old that I haven't played them in quite a while. Forgive me if I put them lower or higher than most, because it is hard to, like, I would have to replay, and the Pixel remake does exist, so I can go back and play them. But it is, like, a bit of a challenge to want to play these type of games when there's so many other games. All right, Final Fantasy OG. I'm going to put that a solid C. I agree. It's a solid game. Solid, but it doesn't do anything. It sets up the entire franchise for what eventually will become like the series of games that they want to create. Same thing with Final Fantasy 2. A little bit more story, a little bit more kind of like plot twists with the antagonist and the party, but ultimately it's still kind of like the iteration on Final Fantasy 1. Now, Final Fantasy 3 is definitely A, because that is like a solid subverting expectations, that your party is been told that they're like gonna save the world, and you have to, you do the typical Final Fantasy thing, but then the plot twist is actually, no, you are the bad guys. You are the ones that are supposed to bring balance to the world by being the warriors of dark, by beating the warriors of light that has plunged the world in eternal darkness, because they got tricked into destroying what causes the light. And so in turn, you have to become the warrior of darkness in order to restore balance to the world. And playing it on 3DS, back in the day was, or it was a DS game, but I played it on 3DS, and they had a lot more like iteration, a lot more character dynamic. Party system was pretty decent, so I enjoyed it. Okay. Same thing with Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy IV would probably be the first time that we got like such a critical story of like, okay, we know the rating system and all that shit, but it's there. Go check out my stream. What else? Oh, Through the Ages card. Okay. Ranger Captain Eos. Knights of Stan Odra. This is a 11 card? Man. Oh my god, Memories of Nibelheim. Stroke of Midnight. Okay. Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. When this creature enters, you may search your library for a creature card with mana value 1 or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Sacrifice this creature. Your opponent cannot cast non-creature spells this turn. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Memories of Nibelheim. Destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white human creature token. Interesting. Interesting. Blue. Okay. Cargo ship. That's new? Blind Vigilance. Add 1. Spend this mana to cast an artifact spell or activate an ability of an artifact source. Okay. Crew 1. Combat Tutorial. Target player draws 2 cards. Put a +1/+1 counter on 1 target creature you control. That's not bad, actually. That's actually a pretty decent card. Eject. This spell cannot be countered. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then draw a card. Go-Go, Mastery of Mimic. Oh, he's a straight blue card? I think, what was his color in the Commander deck? Don't remember. Was it black-red? I'm gonna have to look that up. Oh, Louis Soir. Louis Soir Sacrifice. Louis Soir. Louis Soir. As additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a legendary creature or pay 2. Counter, target, activate ability, trigger activate ability, or non-creature spell. Fuck. That's rad. He's a straight red. He's a straight red card. Okay. Damn. Get fucked. Target, counter, target, activated ability, triggered ability, or non-creature spell. That is fucking, for 1. That's a staple for a lot of blue decks. I'm just gonna say it. And you have to sacrifice a legendary creature or pay 2. Man, I put that in my ninja deck. Just to say fuck you. No. Hard nose. Give him the hard no. Sleep Magic. That's pretty cool. This aura enters tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature does not untap during its controller's unstep. When enchanted creature sleeps, when enchanted creature is dealt damage. Oh, sacrifice. Duh, because it wakes them up. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Legendary creature wizard. Go-Go. Mastery Mimicry. XX. Plus a colorless. Or plus tap. Copy targeted, activated, or triggered ability you control X times. You may choose a new target for the copy. This ability cannot be copied, and X cannot be 0. Okay, I bet there's gonna be some fucking chicanery, fuckery in this card. For sure, people are gonna find a way to bust it open. Fight on. Oh shit, the final days. That's great. Oh, man. Okay. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. Interesting, but okay. The final days of Final Fantasy 15 or 16 or 14. Create 2 tap black horror creatures. If the spell was cast from the graveyard, instead create X of those tokens, where X is the number of creatures in your graveyard. If it was casted from your grave, or you flashback it. Man, that's pretty dope. Ninja Blades, let's go. It's a rare card. Job select. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 as a ninja. An additional time. This is going to my ninja deck. I'm going to find me a card that I want to turn into a ninja. Maybe Blightsteel Colossus could turn into a ninja. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. That player loses life equal to the discarded card's mana value. Woo! Woo! Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. Oh, man. Jeez, the overkill. I thought I saw this in a preview. Yeah, target creature gets -0, -99 until end of turn. That is fucking overkill. Red. Bug. Light of Judgment. And it's an uncommon. It's a common. Come on. Come on. It's fucking Light of Judgment. You're really going to make Light of Judgment a common ability? These wackos. These fucking wackos. Jesus fucking Christ. These fucking wackos. Light of Judgment deals 6 damage to target creature. Destroy up to 1 equipment attached to that creature. Wow, that would fuck over my Captain America deck for sure. Yes, sirree, Bob. Voltron decks, watch out. Ruban, the Bull of Alamigo. Oh, and they even took out... His arm is gone, so this is the later version. But then I saw the prices. Bro, you don't even want to know. You don't even want to know how much Josh and I are spending money-wise. You don't even want to know, my friend. You don't even want to know. Ninja in a Reanimator deck, it gets stupid. Yeah, it's true. Seamless Sorceress. I think we saw that last week. Okay, and I didn't see Roban's ability because I was just fanboying over his design. Ward. Pay life equal to Roban's power. Oh, that's cool. Roban, when Roban attacks, attach up to 1 target. Thank you for the sub, my friend. Who ordered the poo-poo platter? Yeah, you can watch us open. Which, by the way, okay. So are we gonna set a date? Are we gonna have enough willpower? Can you have enough willpower not to open your cards and not to open my cards and then set a specific date? Brother, set my money on fire. And her investment. Nah, dude, because we're gonna get a golden chocobo. We're gonna get a serialized golden chocobo. It's all gonna be great. It's all gonna be great. Whenever Roban attacks, attach 1 of your target equipment you control to target attacking creature. Okay. Okay. I mean, that's not the best ability, but I can see it working. Gilgamesh. Weapon Collector. Through the Ages. Goldo. Bandit Warlord. Ninja Emrakul. And fight on. Take 12 damage. Next turn. Do it again. Emrakul. Man. Is there an anime version of Emrakul? Or a Secret Lair version of Emrakul? When Gilgamesh enters. I like how they have to say Gilgamesh, not Goldo. When Gilgamesh enters, you may search your library for an equipment card. Put it into your battlefield, then shuffle. When Gilgamesh attacks for the first time, each turn untap it and all samurai you control. After his phase, there is an additional combat phase. Yeah. I think I had this card. I think I do have this card. I think it's in my deck already. I think there's a Secret Layers of Emrakul. Let me see. Let's see. Cool. Oh my god. Oh my god. There is appearance. Don't think. Well, I think there might be a Secret Lair version of him. I have Emrakul. I have two Emrakuls, but they're from Modern Horizon. Emrakul Secret Lair. Okay, there is art. Oh yeah, there's the promise. Okay, Emrakul, the Promise's End. There's a Secret Lair versions of Emrakul of the Promise End. This spell costs 1 less for each card type among cards in your graveyard. When you cast the spell, you gain control of target opponent during that. When you cast the spell, you gain control of target opponent during that player's next turn. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. Apply trample, protection from instants, 13/13. Woo! Okay. 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 Cool. 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 But yeah, I think I have Goldo. Green. The Shupu. The Shupu. Cactuar, normal Cactuar. Plant trample. Grade 3. At the beginning of your end step, if this creature did not if this creature didn't enter the battlefield under his turn, return to his owner hand. Okay. Interesting. Okay, we saw these cards during the we saw these cards during the live stream. Elector. Okay. This artifact enters tap. Five, exile this artifact. Shuffle all non-land cards from your graveyard into your library. Gain life equal to the number of cards shuffled into your library this way. I mean, very deceiving with the full recovery HP/MP, because it's definitely not it. Giant of Babel. It's a construct, legendary artifact, Scourge. Enters tapped and doesn't untap during its untap stage. When you cast a historic spell, untap him. Okay. Gotcha. Lands. Okay. Clive's Hideaway. It's supposed to be fucking Sid's Hideaway, but we're not. We're neither here nor there. Okay, so Balem Garden, the Seed Academy. Bleh. This land enters tapped. Add a green or blue. 5 green and blue. Transform this land. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each other town you control. Really? Yeah, it's the airborne. It turns into the airship. Blind. Whenever a Belem Garden attacks, draw a card. Crew 1, 5/4. Interesting. Very interesting card there. It's Hideaway. Hideaway 4. That's pretty cool. What is the requirement? You may play an exile card without paying its mana cost if you control 4 or more legendary creatures. Nice. A nice. Oh my god. I was just so dead focused. Midgar, City of Mako. Fuck. Raid. Reactor Raid. You may sacrifice an artifact or creature if you do draw 2 cards. Interesting for Midgar. I like the alt art of the Mako. Which reactor is that? What's in the alt art? Which reactor is that? Is that 13? Or not 13? Is that the one that they're about to blow up? If you're watching later on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment. Tell me which reactor that is, and if it's a reference to the reactor that they're heading towards in Final Fantasy. I'd like to know. I would like to know pretty please. Let's see. Yeah. Ooh, nice alt art. What's the night? Okay, yeah, pretty decent alt art. You think Elixir should shuffle Graveyard into Library and then gain life for every non-light card? Yeah, I agree. I actually agree. It should be every card, not just because what isn't Felidon's Cane every card? You just reshuffle your card back into your reshuffle your Cane, or you reshuffle your whole graveyard back to your library, and that's it. Oh man. Okay. Well then, that's it for the new cards. Because that would cover MP and HP. Exactly. 100%. God, next Friday. I think I might want to bring Josh in. I think I'm going to try to bring as many people on the stream next Friday. We go through the preview set, and we just talk. We'll just talk about like what cards is what, and like see what the market value is going to be, like estimate like what's going to be the creme de la creme, or what's going to be busted or whatever. Let's see. Is there anything else? I think we're almost here, guys. We are literally almost here. We're almost towards the end. Next Friday is pre-release. Yeah. So I'll ask Mega City if I can stream. Like, if from my phone, I'll just bring my phone and stream our matches, and I'll just ask if I can stream it. Sorry, didn't mean to take you on that big. Or tag you on that, yeah. Too bad you're in or you're in the San Bruno and not down here. Wish you could hang out with us. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for me. Set my money on fire. I was gonna just getting cards from the ashes. Exactly. Well, I don't know what other. Like I said, I think we're almost there. Like I said, next week, I think they're just gonna do the card pack openings, and then that means we're just still gonna have to wait until. Well, this Friday is card release day, so they'll release the full card set, so that's gonna be cool. But then I guess next Tuesday is going to be unboxing, which we'll finally know what's going to be in the gift bundle. So I'm excited for that. What's going to be in the gift bundle? I'm, like I said, crossing fingers, praying to God that it's Jill and Sid partner cards. That's my hope. That's my dream. But I could be wrong. Because it's probably going to be Benedicta and Clyde Rossfield, who's going to be my Final Fantasy 14 deck, which means Ricardo, who is playing my Final Fantasy 15 deck, is going to have to just deal with the Benedicta. Although she's a hot tamale, I like her. Even though she just has she has such a short role in the overall game. Benedicta. All right. Definitely gonna be checking out the Magic Arena content. If I'm gonna buy all those fucking cards. And tell me what you guys think over on the YouTubes. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you're watching later, do the doobly-doo. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Helps the channel grow. Helps us be more legitimized in the content that we create. Even though I'm not really a Final Fantasy, or I'm not really a Magic the Gathering content creator, I definitely do like this format. I definitely like what the elements of this collaboration is bringing. And who knows? They might bring in another collaboration that make me go like fucking stir crazy and wild. But until then, I think I'm gonna call it there because it's getting super hot in my room. And I'll try to stream something tomorrow. Like I said, I'm suffering from whooping cough. So as you may tell, I'm like coughing. I'm not coughing as I used to cough. And that's just me just taking my 2 sets of antibiotics every day. But today was pretty bad. I think the flare-ups were pretty gnarly. But hopefully this new medication they have me on will get me all sorted. No, I just think I didn't take my 3rd round. I think I took it as a baby. And then I think I had to take it when I was going to elementary school. But I think you're supposed to take your 3rd one when like you're like middle, like when you're middle age or like in your 20s. And I was fucking broke. I couldn't get a vaccination shot in my 20s. I barely got healthcare when I was like 33, bro. That's how crazy. Like the beginning, the middle of the very beginning of the pandemic. That's when I got health insurance. Like middle school, yeah. Maybe I don't even remember. Yeah, I am. There's my probiotics right there. Fiber probiotics. Take it every day. And I even have like the spoon shit too. The spoon fiber. But the thing is I keep on forgetting to take the fiber in the drinkable substance. And it's only the gummies that I remember to take every day. Constipated for like 5 days at a time. Yeah. So I don't know. I hardly even eat because of I'm on Ozempic. Universe Beyond sucks and strip Magic Gathering of identity. I won't be attending the pre-release or buying any of its sealed products. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. Look, these are all secret layers. Secret layers. Universes beyond. Secret layers. Universes beyond. Secret layers. Universes beyond. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. I got a Captain America deck. I got a Enzo deck. I'm the problem. I know I'm the problem. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. Wakanda forever. You know what? I haven't even really opened this. Just because... Wakanda. I don't even know what... I haven't even opened my Deadpool. I don't even know what my bonus sheet card is. It's probably going to be like, what's it called? The offering or whatever. I doubt I'm going to get the Blacker Lotus. Let's see. Yep. I just got the... It could be the Blacker Lotus. No, it's the humble offering. It's the humble offering. You got jammed. I got jammed. Come on. Hold on. Okay. So I could throw this away now. And I'm gonna put it with the rest of my secret layers and my universes beyond. Because I'm the problem. At least he didn't blame anime, chat. If he would have blamed anime, then that would have what's it called? That to me would have been like a slap to the face. I know I'm the problem. The Fortnite-ification of Magic is, I know it's a problem. Trust me, I'm not blind. But they got me. They got me. Why do you think I spend so much money on like fucking Fortnite skins? Because it's hard to imagine life without these sort of cards, because they were never really available when I was a kid. Yeah, I know they've been doing it for decades, but like still, the fact of the matter is that like I was explaining to Christine that Magic, or growing up with Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy 6 or 3, that's it. You only had the game, right? Everybody else had Power Rangers and G.I. Joes, and they could buy toys, they could buy whatever, right? But I love Final Fantasy, and it was never ever like there was not even a poster, not a t-shirt, nothing. I mean, I had to go to the swap meet just to get bootleg like Dragon Ball Z t-shirts and art design stuff. And like, yeah, it's just like, like now they're like, oh, member berries, member Final Fantasy, and it's like I low key like that they are low key celebrating it. Although I will say, like I said before earlier tonight, is that these fucking weirdos with their fucking Final Fantasy 9 hard-ons and their Final Fantasy fucking 8 hard-ons, get them out of here. Get them out of here. Just get them out of here. 9 was, but no, 9 is for fucking weirdos. Which doesn't mean it's not the best. It's just for fucking weirdos. Which is why Gavin, that's why he said, he's like, oh, Final Fantasy 9 is my favorite. It's like, there you go. He's the weirdo. Yeah, I mean, the tactics is definitely a major blow to the Final Fantasy fandom. But it's like, especially because you have Final Fantasy 11, or not Final Fantasy 11, you have Final Fantasy 12 in there, which is Evilise, which is what Final Fantasy Tactics is from. You have that game representation, but Tactics is not there. And then earlier, Lazy Dargan was like, "Should Final Fantasy 11 been a mainstead game?" And I'm like, yeah, it should, because Final Fantasy 14, even though it is also the same thing, it's a mainstead game, has a story. It's basically Final Fantasy, the amusement park. You're basically going through the journey of every Final Fantasy game with its own little creative spin on it. So, yeah, I'm the problem. I am the problem. Chatter on YouTube. I'm the problem. And you know what? More for me. More for me, none for you. If I see you with the collector booster in your hand, I'm going to cut your hand off. I'm going to fucking cut your hand off. Because that Universes Beyond collector booster could be in my hands, not you. Shut the fuck up, okay? Shut the actual fuck up. Shut the fuck up, all right? Don't be telling these people how much money I'm spending. Shut the actual fuck up, okay? It's already embarrassing, okay? It's already embarrassing I'm spending. You know, my God. Don't. Oh, man. Well, they do, oh yeah, they don't. They didn't feature that artist. Or did they? No, they didn't. They didn't bring in the Final Fantasy 14 artists, or not 14, Final Fantasy Tactics artist. I forget what his name is. I used to remember it. I used to know all the artists' name. Yoshida, yeah. Yoshida. Yoshida is the one who did all the art. Asahiko Yoshida. Asahiko Yoshida. Yeah. Yoshida joined Square, and each project he took on, he experimented with different types of styles of graphic design. He was compared, he used to color that of Kingdom Hearts designer Tetsuya Nomura, and keeping the color consistency between characters in the game and the world. Tactics Ogre. Yeah, he designed... It sucks because he designed Van, but he was forced to... Van was never supposed to be in Final Fantasy 12, but they took a poll, and they're like, yeah, you have to put... We have to have a young protagonist in the game, even though the game has nothing to do with the... Because it's basically... whatchamacallit? Basically 12 is just a retelling of Star Wars. Has like the whole Empire scene. It has, the pirate and Van are basically Han and Chewie. The princess is Princess Leia. All that stuff, right? The guy that's locked up is supposed to be Obi-Wan. And then Van is supposed to be Luke, sort of. But they were like, and then the girl that's always hanging around Van, she was definitely just randomly inserted because they were like, oh, we gotta have this girl. We have to have cute characters. And it's like, Ash isn't cute enough. Stop coughing, it's annoying. Fuck you. I have whooping cough. I literally have a 100-day cough, bro. It used to be, dude. It was bad. Like, I was like almost crying to sleep because I couldn't breathe because of the amount of coughing. I was buying Mucinex and like cough drops. I spent like probably like $200 on Mucinex and cough drops alone this last 3 months. It's been pretty rough. But yeah, I'm excited. I feel like I'm gonna get my release, my cathartic release. Oh, you got the 970? Oh, really? Nice, congratulations. So you're just all AMD'd out then. You're AMD to the wazoo. I'm glad you got to replace your, what was it, your 3070, was it? Or your 4070? I'm literally waiting. I literally have my new computer, which is, it's not a new computer. It's a third setup for the basement computer. But I'm going to primarily be using it in the summer because it's a small form factor. It's a mini ITX computer. And I'm basically going to point that computer out my window. And I'm going to run a large, or the longest Thunderbolt 5 cable that I could do. And then hook everything up to the a Thunderbolt 5 hub to my Thunderbolt 4 port on my character, or on my computer, so that all the heat goes out. And that's going to be my computer for the summer. I never had magic cards, and this Final Fantasy collab makes me want to get some. I mean, honestly, if you never had magic cards, buy a commander set. And maybe a gift bundle. Or not the set. Like, choose out of the 4 commanders, pick your favorite Final Fantasy. Learn the game that way. Buy the, not the gift bundle set, but the normal bundle. I forget what it's called. That too. You definitely picked a wrong time to start. Because basically, every Universes Beyond set is a premium set, so they cost extra. Don't want to learn to play, just want the card. Oh, you just want the cards. I mean, the most bang for your buck then will be to get the commander sets, because you get 100 cards, and you just choose your favorite Final Fantasy, and there you go. I think out of the 4 commander sets, I think the Final Fantasy X one is probably going to be the most competitive, because just the amount of counters that it generates and how it moves the counters and things do stuff with counters, it's just too good. Probably the hardest would probably be Final Fantasy 14, because it has you have to do a lot of control, and so you basically have to big brain your way through that deck. Whereas like 7 is just like Voltron, equip as much equipment, do big damage, do big stuff with big damage. And then 6 is just basically a resurrect deck. You just bring shit back from your graveyard. It died. Oh, look, it died. Oh, I'm going to bring it back. Oh, it died again. I'm going to bring it back. It could be kind of annoying, but it's still kind of, it's not as difficult as, like, let's say 14, which is like very control, sap life, gain life sort of deck. But you can check out all those videos, all those descriptions in my past live stream if you're watching later on YouTube. But yeah, my throat is killing me. I'm gonna call it there. I had a great time. I love I'm actually gonna be sad when this is all said and done, because like what am I gonna return to? That's my problem, is what am I gonna return to? Like I gotta play video games, but it's so hot in my room that I don't want to play video games. But I'll figure it out. I might play Arena. I might play Final Fantasy Arena, because it doesn't generate that much heat. It's basically a browser game for the most part. So I might play some Arena. And then I definitely want to play some Final Fantasy 14, because they just released a new Baja type area. So I definitely want to check that out. And then let me check the old Game Informer list. Now that Game Informer is back, y'all, what is the game release of 2025? What do we got on the list? Obviously, in about a week, we're gonna have a bunch of what's it called? We're gonna have a bunch of Nintendo stuff. Switch 2 comes out. Let's see, we are in June already. Or we're gonna be in June, I should say. Ooh, Monster is releasing that update. So June, we have Deltarune Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Is that complete? Is that gonna be complete? Bravely Default Flying Fairy. What's Flying Fairy? Is that just a remix? Is that a remake of the original Bravely Default? I gotta look at it. Fortnite for Switch 2. Blah. Switch 2, June 5th. I gotta finish that pre-order this week. Switch 2. Okay. What do we got? Dragon is Dead. I just saw this the other day, that they're remastering Warhammer 40K Space Marine. That's gonna be pretty tight. Date everything. I've heard that's gonna be pretty cool. Tron Catalyst, Splintered Fate, Marvel Mystic Mayhem. That's the mobile game. Oh, Death Stranding 2. Man, should I play Death Stranding 1? I never got a chance to play Death Stranding 1. I have it on PlayStation 5. Maybe I might do that. We'll see. July. We got Pro Skater 3-4. That's going to be tight. You played it a month ago and loved it? Nice. I did not play any Destiny at all. So this this might be the first Destiny that I don't buy. I bought every Destiny on release, played the story, and then stopped playing. And the last Destiny was so good because they figured out a way to land that behemoth of a fucking franchise. But now everything that's coming out of Bungie right now is it's kind of sad, really. It actually is fucking sad what is happening to Bungie. Like, they had so much. The Final Shape was such a great send-off to the franchise, and now they're just fucking fumbling the bag, bro. Especially with this fucking what was the game that they just recently pulled a lot of marketing from? Marathon. Their live service, their other live service game that they want to capitalize. Greed, man. Fucking greed. Nin Impact. I'm gonna have to buy that for the basement, unfortunately. Killing Floor 3, no way. Super Mario Party Jamboree. I think I only have to pay $10 for that, so that's gonna be kind of cool. And then August, we got Mafia Old Country. We got Gears of War Reloaded. I think that's gonna be delayed. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the expansion for that. I gotta replay that with Becca. If it even works on Switch 2. I need to check if the software I'm using even works on Switch 2. And then Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to play that. I don't know. I'm going to say something pretty controversial. It's not my favorite Metal Gear. It should be my favorite Metal Gear, but it's not. I'm a big fan of OG Metal Gear, for sure. OG is probably my favorite, and then it goes... I hate to say this, but I hate and I love the fact Phantom Pain is a thing, and I love it. But maybe Peace Walker. I think it would go OG. For me, it's OG Metal Gear Solid, Peace Walker, maybe Phantom Pains if you add that first level, the demo level. That was really cool. And then 3, then 2, then 4. Because Acid doesn't count. Because Acid's even though Acid, I really like the story of Acid because it brings in Campbell and it brings in Jaeger, who is the original Cyber Ninja. It's technically not canon, unfortunately, but like Peace Walker and 5 has some great gameplay, but was incomplete. Yeah, exactly. That's why. But it was so good, especially when when you play the record that the man who stole the world. It was just so good. Thematically, it was just so good. It's like you are Solid Snake and I'm Solid Snake. Or we're all Naked Snake, I should say. We're all Naked Snake. You are Naked Snake. I am Naked Snake. We are all snakes. And that's such a great send-off because we are. If you play the game, you are Snake. Demon, Ex Machina, Titanic Scorn, Outlaws, Hell Is Us, Borderlands 4, Marathon. That's not going to come out in September. And then Ghost of Yote. That's probably the only game I am truly anticipating. Fucking Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is supposed to come out this year, but no fucking way. No shot it's coming out. Especially they just oh wait, I gotta talk to Vic. I gotta tell you about that, Vic. About the anyways, okay, I'm gonna call it there. My throat is literally on the verge of hacking a lung. I'm in all sorts of pain throat wise. But thank you to everybody who came out either on YouTube or Twitch. Thank you to all the viewers. Thank you to all the resubs. Thank you to all the subscribers. Be sure to leave a comment, hit that like button, engagement, all that fun stuff. But until next time, fellas. Actually, let me see if there's anybody else I want to raid up on the over on the Twitch side of things, there's no raid feature on YouTube until they steal it. Is there anybody I want to raid up? He's playing Elden Ring. Power Stone 2. Sure. Let's I wonder if he's accepting raids. Unrulies from Yo Video Games playing some Power Stone 2. I gotta play that game. I gotta play Capcom Collection too, man. God, there's so many fucking games. All right. Take care, y'all. Have a good one. Be good to one another, and peace forever.